Good evening. Welcome to our January the 9th, 2025 school board meeting. I just want to start out 25 with on a positive note. I know past board meetings there have been some yelling and name calling and mudslinging, and I'd like to see if we can keep it down a little bit. And for the audience, we need to try to do the same thing. So let's stand, have a moment of silence, and we'll have a pledge. Have a pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Griever?
Here.
Ms. Klon? Here. Mr. Matheson?
Here.
Mr. Robinson?
Here.
Mr. Long?
Here.
Mr. Clifton?
Here.
Public comments. We have got 3. Chris Jones. Chris Jones.
Michelle and the board, I want to know why I was not called when my son got hit in the head at school and sustained a concussion. And I also want to know why he was not sent to the school nurse.
Well, you brought that investigation to us. Mr. Hageman did investigate that. I know you spoke at the time. It was Dr. Long was the principal at the middle school.
Right.
You know, we did the investigation. Mr. Hageman did that as soon as you brought that in the other day. You know, as far as why they did not contact you, Mr. Hageman, what did you?
My understanding is that they didn't think it was an injury, and that in case it didn't report it back to.
Because he was asked if he was okay, and
Well, anybody with common sense should know when a child or anybody gets hit in the head, they need to be checked out.
and that has been addressed with the adults that were in the room that day.
Yeah, but the only thing that I know that y'all have done is just wrote this coach up.
There was a reprimand.
He should have been fired on the spot from the medical neglect. That is illegal. You need to do your research. It's better get your act in the road.
We do follow our
No,
policy.
you don't, Michelle.
Yes, we do.
And everybody knows it. It's just fixing to get hammered. It's coming. So, my advice, you better start doing what's right by these kids. You just cover up too much bullshit in your system, and you know it.
We don't use that kind of language.
Freedom of speech, have you ever heard of it?
Yes, sir. But
Do your research on that,
This
too.
is public meeting. We need
Let him
to
speak.
I don't
keep it
care.
down.
And we have children in the room.
My son's standing down here as well.
We have other children in the room.
I apologize, but the truth is the truth. There ain't none of you's worth a crap on this board, except for,
Mr. Madison?
Matheson and Kim.
Okay, I have to say something. We set up here,
I
this
don't
is a
care what you
student.
have to say, I'm not addressing you, I'm
Well,
addressing
I'm a part of this
them.
board. He's a part of this board.
I don't
Just
care.
be careful what you say.
I don't care. The truth is truth. I've dealt with this school system longer than I want to. It's nonsense. What goes on in this school system is swept under the rug. Anything that happens in these schools is swept under the rug. How many times have I been down here?
And we
been in
investigate
school
every time that you
And
come.
talk to you.
And we
about my
investigate
kids
every
being
time
bullied,
that you come.
But you just don't do nothing.
Yes, we
No,
do.
you
You may
don't.
not like the outcome, but we do follow
You don't, no,
procedure.
you don't, Michelle.
Yes, we do.
You do not even follow your own policies on bullying.
Yes, we do.
If you did, then this crap wouldn't
And
be
how
going
many
on in
times have you
schools.
come in and filled out a bullying complaint form? We've asked you to several times.
But what good's it gonna do?
We investigate.
That's all I hear out of you.
Well, we have to follow policy and procedure, whether you like it or not.
On this investigation, Director, was there a written report done on it?
Yes, Mr. Hageman did a full investigation of this.
You have it in writing?
Yeah, I have my notes, I don't have an official write-up for you, but I do have my notes.
He can do an official.
If you would, I'd like to have a written report of what the investigation showed
Sure.
and what disciplinary actions was taken against the teacher.
Sure.
And if it do, this will be put in the teacher's file, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Now, it shows that he was also, this child was taken to urgent care. Urgent care says he had a concussion.
Okay.
Later on, he had to take the child back. Urgent care referred him to the ER. ER doctor states that the boy is sick and headaches are coming from concussion. Now, why has the school system not looked into this matter?
We have. We have investigated it when it was brought to our attention.
So you have an official, did you just say you have an
Yes.
official or you just have notes? Do you have an official documentation of this? You just said you didn't have an official documentation.
I didn't say documentation, I don't have I didn't have a write-up for you, I have my notes of the investigation.
So there
You
is
can-
an
you can-
official.
In other words, you can
thing,
write it up.
Absolutely.
But it's not
Yes.
been, okay, not been done yet on somebody that went to the ER with a concussion. Does your child have an IEP?
He does.
Okay, child with IEP, okay.
According to Mr. Jones here, there's a lawyer in Nashville who is an IEP department lawyer who states that this child had been violated.
Correct.
Lawyer violated.
Now, what kind of actions did she state that would take place, Mr. Jones?
Well, as of right now, she's working on some other things, but she will be filing a suit. And good luck. Because I've got two different suits on. Because both of my boys has IEPs. My youngest son keeps getting bullied at the elementary school, which I give Miss Gentry credit.
They've
So far,
investigated.
she has stopped it. She is an excellent principal. And then my other son, he's got an IEP, and then he gets injured at school, he doesn't get medical attention, and the school does not notify me of the incident until the next day. So don't you think that's pretty messed up?
When are you supposed to be, when something like this happens, are they supposed to be, the parents be notified of it?
If he had went to the nurse, though, the nurse would have notified the parent
But the
immediately.
coach seen the incident occur and did not check.
And they
my
asked the
son
child
out.
if he was okay, and he said yes. So
But anybody
again,
with
we
a
have
head
met
injury-
with the adults in the room to go over procedures and
But
protocols.
anybody with a head injury can say anything. You sit up on your high chair for right now.
We're gonna look at it again.
Yeah.
We'll look at it. We'll look at, continue to look at that again. But Bill,
I'd like to make a motion, I don't know if this is the correct time or not, but I'd like to make a motion that we as a board have a work session and create an actual bullying policy to where, I mean, I know we talked about how they do it at different schools and it's by G67425, whatever it was, the thing. But we need a clear and concise policy. This is happening here. This is happening here. Not that people need to come from work and fill out a form at Central. Okay, that's not the parent's position to have to come to Central to file a report. They should be able to do that within their school. So I
They
think
can. They can.
I thought y'all said they had to come in and file a report.
They file a report, it comes to central office. At that point is where it's investigated.
But I think we need for each grade, K through 6 and 7th through 12th, this is what happens.
It's the
First
same.
time,
It's the
second,
same.
first time, second time, third time. It needs to be discussed with all teachers and all parents notified, even if in the meeting, if we read it to them, to people watching, posting it on the Facebook page, posting it on the website. That is clear and concise, and it is across the board standardized. And then that way, they'll either be control, or that we will understand that something needs to be tweaked. But it needs to be set for every single kid in every single school, and every single person follows it. The children know, the parents know, and it's the same for everybody, same process. There's no questions, there's no confusion, it's just straight policy.
But what they don't understand, any child with an IEP or a 504 plan is protected under federal law.
Correct.
That's
You're
what
correct. You are
Yeah.
correct. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So these kids that's getting bullied with IEPs and 504s, you're just violating the law by letting this happen.
Well, that's, like I said, we're still investigating, or gonna continue to investigate, and we'll,
And this
keep
is,
them up in the loop.
And we will share that report with you.
Mr. Jones, and this is taking place in the middle school?
Correct.
Okay.
But that's all you hear when you talk to anybody from central office. It's always an investigation, an investigation. Well, they might investigate it, but do they follow the law on that? No, too? No, they don't. Because when they investigate something, they're supposed to give the results to you in writing. They don't do that.
Okay. Maybe we need to look at the policy for that.
You'll
Anything else?
violate more laws than criminals out here on the street. And it's about a joke.
Yeah, I think you've said that once, so. Is there anything else? Are you,
I'm done.
okay?
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
We'll be back in touch.
All right.
I had made a motion to see if we could get a meeting set up to discuss the policy.
Well,
and
it's,
implement.
I don't know that we need a motion, we can just do it. I think we've already got that started with what I sent you on the bullying policy and.
Sent
and
who?
Defending.
Who'd you send it to?
I had it sent,
No, I sent it out to everybody.
sent it out for everybody.
Frankly, I haven't even checked the emails.
That
lately.
was 2 or 3 days ago.
That's just,
Yeah.
well, heck, yeah.
So I think as a board, we need to sit down
Yeah,
and
it was-
implement this policy in a work session,
We got-
open to public.
When we were talking about kids being able to defend themselves, I got the law
Yes,
and had it sent out to everybody, so
that's a separate
that law
policy, that's a
is
that's a
That's a
separate
bullying
state.
policy.
Yeah, it's a separate state policy of how that works, and a kid has a right, ours is worded different than the Tennessee
That's-
state policy, and that does need to be worked.
That's
But
that's the same thing we're talking about.
I
So we
want
do it
to
all at
set
one
up a
time.
complete, step by step.
We can.
So
we can
you
do
all,
that.
okay.
If you would, Mr. Long, express that law to the audience out here so they'll know what you're talking
I
about.
don't have it.
I do.
Do you? Okay. This is from Ben, our TSBA lawyer, Ben Torres. This is TCA 49-6-3401. Notwithstanding subsection A or B, any other law on any other law on the contrary, if a pupil is determined to be a fair and thorough investigation made by the principal or the principal's appointed representative to have acted in self-defense under a reasonable belief of that student or another to whom the student was coming in defense of may have been facing threat of immediate danger or death or serious bodily injury, which the student honestly believes to be real and true at the time, or real and true at the time, then the principal's recommendation, the student may not face any disciplinary action. That's what we were talking about a couple of meetings ago.
Right, they have the right to defend
Have
themselves
the right to
instead
defend
of,
themselves, so
if they're
we need
getting
to
knocked
work on
out,
it.
then they both get suspended currently.
We get all that together. Put all that in the same, should be the same thing, so we'll get that set up. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
number-
that'll work for a work session where we can all discuss
Yeah.
and come up with that policy for bullying that's clear and concise.
Number 2, Donna Crotts, Laurel School.
Yeah, it's been about a year. I know we've got bids in, and I want to know what we're going to do about the parking lot. We've been beating this horse for a year.
It's on the agenda for tonight.
You didn't have enough agendas to see what's on there.
It's
Okay.
number 15.
Number 15, discuss approval of Laurel Elementary parking lot and information is provided.
And there's some other things that needs to be for Laurel. We need some new tiles up on the roof, on the ceilings. I'm still talking about, and I want to know about the gym, the hallways with tiles. Because really, every school has their school color. Every school has something to know that it's that school. Laurel has nothing. We have tiles that are chipped, tiles that are broke. That is a danger to the kids. And I don't think Laurel School should settle for a yellow tile, a blue tile, a red tile. It needs all to match.
Is that in Hall one?
So, right there's that. And the teachers, has anybody been down there to look at their cabinets? They're awful. They are awful. They are used cabinets from other schools, and they are awful. Some has decorated them where you wouldn't see the rust. Some has done things to try to make them look nice. They're awful. The desk, I was so upset whenever I asked, and actually I asked somebody up here where a desk come from. It's a shame that we are taking things that are used and that other schools do not want or do not need, and we buy them new things, and our kids have to stay with rusted desks. That's a shame. I mean, it is nothing but a shame. Then we have rugs that need to be replaced. And there's a lot more things. You go outside one of the side doors, you have one of the, I don't know, central air unit box things, whatever you want to call it, that does heat and air. You have that. There's no fence around it, no nothing. Even though I don't think a child could get hurt, but there's little holes that they can stick things in that can make the central air or heat not work. There's little things they can do and play on and jump on that they could get hurt. Then let's talk about the playground equipment. Every school has got new playground equipment, almost every school. Whenever Mountain City had the $18,000 left over for school, for the building, oh, let's give them new playground equipment. Well, why not divide that money up? Why didn't we divide that money up among each school for them to get what they want?
Miss Donna, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I was at Laurel School and toured it. Russell, have you been down there? That's your school.
It's been a little while, but I can make it.
Can you make an appointment to go down and go through and see what she has? I mean, he's your Laurel rep. I don't care to come.
I'd like to go firsthand
yeah.
and
Like
go.
a-
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can go, the rest of us can go too. I'll
Well, we
go.
were supposed to have, we voted on having a work session at Laurel just to see everything.
We'll
It's
just,
not been done.
We'll just solve at our next board meeting, it'll be at Laurel.
Well,
So
that's
the-
fine with me. I don't care when you come.
How long's that
Just be there.
playground equipment been there is what I want to know, because when I was down there, I was kind of shocked. It's meek, it's old and
It's-
very tiny. How many kids are out there at once?
There's 2 or 3 grades,
Dr.
give or
Agers,
take.
how many-
more or less.
How many at a recess at a time?
We keep it to 2 classes at a time.
2 classes are using that little bitty square?
Which
Well,
is,
they're using the entire playground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long's that playground been there? How old is that?
I'm sorry, I don't
When the
know.
building
It was there when I got here.
How long have you been
Angie.
there?
Angie?
Angie knows because she was teaching.
How long's
When
it
the
been there?
building renovation was completed
When?
in 2000, 2001.
2001.
Okay, so
26
22,
years?
23?
That's the
24 years.
same time that Rome
24.
Creek's was done, and that was the same time that all those cabinets were replaced, and the cabinets at Rome Creek are the same age, like all of that was done.
Has
during
Fern
that
Creek
period.
been there that long?
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having
So
fun.
that, like, no cabinets have been replaced at Rome Creek either.
I have a
That's-
question.
So Laurel's not had a new playground since for 20-something years.
And the cabinets look awful.
Right.
We'll make a
Sad.
visit.
It looks
Yeah.
awful.
I'd like to have
Well,
a-
somebody from Rome Creek needs to stand up and say, hey, we need new cabinets. You've got representatives here.
Mr.
Miss Donna,
Huh?
do we not have a woodworking shop in the high school?
No,
I don't know.
no.
Not, we did.
We
but I-
used
I
to, but
graduated
it's,
in '83.
It's not there.
Why don't we have it?
Well,
And I moved.
Participation.
it was not, it was not,
I don't
the kids would not sign up for the classes, and we revamped the program.
I think it went to building
It went
trades.
to building trades, so it's not just completely, they do some woodworking, but they also do electrical, what else, Herbie?
Land block.
Yeah, building houses, they're building houses right now, so,
Do we,
but it's not just woodworking like it used to be.
Are you all
so they,
talking about
they
cabinets
could
on
build
the
some
wall?
cabinets for these schools?
Are
You can
they-
probably actually ask, the prison, you can ask and see if they have that program still. It used to be where you bought just the material
Yeah,
and they build them for free.
yeah, and they still do that.
I would say we get all the cabinets put through there
Well, we'll-
and get them built.
We'll go,
That
we'll go
would be
look at it.
nice,
see
but
what
I'm
we
talking about where the teachers keep their stuff in.
Like
Yeah.
supply
The
cabinets.
metal
Something about
cabinet.
supply cabinets.
I'm
Block
not so
cabinet.
much talking about
They
the
can build
cabinets
it.
on the wall.
They can build it all.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll go,
But
we'll go down
I-
and look at it, take some notes.
I walked through there, and it was really, really sad. And you know, this is a school that I went to. This is the school, actually, all my family went to. And it was a nice school. And where maintenance, I don't know about the other schools, but there's no maintenance kept up at Laurel. Just none, and it's sad. It's sad, and it's a fact. What I'm
How's
talking
it
about
been
is a
allowed to
fact.
get this bad?
Huh?
I mean, as a board, we represent our school district.
Dr. Eggers, and we do a summer list every year, and we put anything that Dr. Eggers puts on there, maintenance-wise, does get addressed and fixed. So, I mean, Dr. Eggers,
Well-
do you care to just address that?
I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, Ms. Cross. Anytime that I put in a maintenance request, we get action as soon as possible. There are times, especially with, HVAC equipment, that we have to wait for parts. And it is an older building, so you're
But-
limited with what you can work with.
But my question is, how many times was the septic put in there before it was fixed? The kids played on that playground, and I can bring people up here, and with their parents, and the children, 5, 6 years. So, how many times do you have to put in a request to get it done, knowing that you have children, and their children is just as important as what Rome Creek, Mountain City, and Doe? Are those nice schools? Yes. Do they have problems? I'm sure they do, and I'm sure that parents or people's not as picky as I am, where it's been left gone, and gone because of the maintenance.
You're saying, what is the septic? Is the
was-
septic
it
by the
was-
playground?
It was
Have we checked
already
the soil?
done.
Have we done soil testing? to
It
make
was
sure
fixed.
it's
It
safe?
was fixed.
But
It was-
have we
I'm
had
just
the
as soon as
soil,
we knew.
have we had the soil
Yeah.
checked?
Yeah.
The soil's been
Health
checked?
department's
Yeah.
got
It's
that.
been
It was fixed, but I'm just using that as an example. How many times? And I know I'm picky, and I know I'm very assertive, and I know that I'm very aggressive, and I can be abrasive. I know these things. But whenever I feel like over the years and years and years that Laurel School has been left out of different things and no maintenance, I don't know how the maintenance is in the other schools. I don't know. And really, the parents there need to complain if they're not being kept up. Like I said before, I'm pro-Laurel. And I want Laurel to be, I tell people, it doesn't matter. Just fix it. Those kids deserve a nice school. A better one. If you can pour out $1 million, $2 million, $5 million to Mountain City School, you know what? You can pour out money to Laurel.
Ms.
If
Donna,
you can pour out this other money, other things, you can do it for Laurel.
do you think by us coming down as a board and walking through and making lists and seeing what we can do,
I
would
was,
that make you feel better and help maybe all of us laying eyes on it?
It
And
would
kinda
make me
You can
feel
walk
better.
us through?
I will walk you through and I will show you the things that I see that's wrong. And our little stained tiles up there, that tells me there's a leak or there's something going on, little hose. And then, you know, you see that and then you wonder, if a big rain comes, thank God we had a big rain, nothing didn't fall in. But when will it, and what is the leaks from?
That one's not that.
Have you addressed your board member with these problems?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. And it's because, you know, Russell and I are just now talking and getting along, and they will come. But it's like I'll tell anybody else, and I respect him for what he does. Don't get me wrong. And it's okay to me to agree to disagree. But I don't feel like that he will fight for Laurel like somebody else would fight for Laurel. You know, you have all these representatives. I don't see, you know, to me, whenever it comes to your school and things need to be done, y'all should have a meeting and say, listen, my school needs this. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it?
But Donna, we represent all the schools.
It doesn't matter. You mainly for Laurel.
Laurel's just the district that I came from.
That's right, the district that you're
But
supposed to
my
fight for.
obligation is to represent all schools.
That might be true, and I agree with that. But still, it's your first priority, just like his is Doe, Shady. Where else are you at?
That's it.
She is
I
Mount
personally think
City,
it needs to be reworked.
Mount City, and Roan Creek, Trade, Showns. He's Mount City, Roan Creek,
High
Trade,
school,
Showns,
high school, middle school.
and then you're Laurel,
And Mountain City.
and you're no.
You're Mountain City?
Yes, I am.
How are
So,
you
well,
Mountain
let me
City?
ask you
There are
this.
kids-
Let
there are
me
kids
ask
from
you
Cold
this.
Springs
But
that go to
that,
Mountain
how does
City.
that make him over Mount? Hold on, Donna. How does that make you over Mountain
I'm
City?
not over Mountain
It's
City.
not over Mountain City, it's just part of it.
Part of
the
it,
kids
there's
in
no
the
overlap. Part of the kids in my
Well,
district go to Mountain City.
So-
But once they're zoned to go to
Do you
Mountain
get
City,
votes
they're in
out of
Mountain
Mountain
City.
City?
Not Laurel.
I get votes.
Yeah, but
The votes
just
come
saying where
through
it
Cold
goes.
Springs. Some of those
Cold
kids
Do
go
they
from
have
Mountain
a,
City.
they have a precinct there in Mountain City?
Cold Springs, that's getting
That's
off,
what's-
getting
Okay,
off
Wrong
topic.
but this right here, you are supposed to fight mainly for your district. Okay, now, whenever I run for Laurel, am I going to have a little slash there that says Mountain City? Because I should have ran this summer. No, I am Laurel. You don't have no slash. It doesn't matter where the kids go. If the kids, we've got a couple kids from Roan Creek coming to Laurel, but I don't see them fighting for them. It's our job because they're coming to Laurel School. I am pro Laurel. Now, I can't stress that enough like I have everybody else. But now, if I was supposed to be half of Mountain City, I need a half of a chair, or he needs a bigger chair, and he should have run for Mountain City also. It doesn't matter if some of the kids from Springs Creek, Springs Road, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for that. What matters is you take care of your own district. But if you go to another school, say she says, okay, my school is Doe. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch you. Because I know some people are. Then, you know what? If he comes to him, she comes to him and she says something, he better jump on it. Because he is, and he needs to let the people know from Doe what's going on with your school, what's going on with your district. But if you're half of Mountain City, for goodness sakes, put it on the ballot. I'm just gonna be half.
So you're wanting your rep down there?
I want everybody down there. I want everybody to see, and I want Mountain City to be, Laurel to be taken care of. And I don't want to hear about how, because whenever I run, and if I win, if somebody from Mountain City calls me and says, I need this, you better believe I'm going to fight for that. But you know what? I'm going to leave it to the Mountain City people because I'm at Laurel. If somebody talks to one of you all about Laurel, you all need to relate it. He needs to fight it because I'm going to fight for Laurel.
Ms. Wilson, I know you write the majority of the grants for playground equipment. Is there anything out there?
I have not written a grant for
Well, no,
playground
is there any
equipment.
more out?
I have looked,
But you
and
did
I
send
have
them.
I have sent Dr. Eggers a list, and I told her that I'd be happy to try to help
Okay.
her.
We'll do
And
that, because that's basically where all the other
It is.
playground equipment comes from, is grants.
Well, and I actually emailed Mrs. Grable this afternoon after I saw what Doe had on the agenda as far as their playground equipment. Asked her how she got that. She said it was through the TVA grant, and then she's walked me through how they got it, and then I'm going to reach out to Rome Creek and Laurel and talk with their principals as far as what they did and the various things.
Yeah, because Laurel has a TVA grant.
They do.
Do we not have general funds? I mean, does it have to come from a grant?
Well,
We don't have to be a grant-ridden
But
school.
they don't, but the grant's free money.
Well, it is free money, but
You know,
if
so-
we need it and we have general funds, I mean, heck, we're getting armories and parking lots and meat plants and all
But all-
sorts of stuff we're throwing money at, but the
That's
kids
all-
are needing the
but that-
playground.
That's all from grants too now. If,
Not to fund it and keep it running though. I mean, maybe to
yeah,
build
that's-
it.
it probably is too, but anyway, we'll look at grant money and look at that, and what, like I said, we're gonna have our next board meeting, February board meeting, it'll be at Laurel.
Well, can we set aside some time before the board meeting for
Yeah.
us next week?
We can go in there at 5:30, whatever you want to do, 5 o'clock, we'll walk around.
I will walk you around and I will show you every little thing that I see
So
wrong.
that'd be good.
Will that be
So-
closed?
Yeah.
So,
Would that be closed?
what time are we gonna meet?
We can't take the film equipment down there, no. I mean, as
No
far as-
meetings will be closed unless it's security
I mean, it's all open to the public, but
lawyers.
as far as broadcasting it, I don't know if we can do that.
And the whole idea is to try
Litigation.
and get the board back out into the schools, because
Yeah.
we were talking about that as far as just, it would be a really, really great idea to actually have board meetings at each individual school to involve the communities. So we're gonna start with that next
At
month.
5.
Well,
Like a-
we voted to have them all streamed, so unless you can pack that equipment,
Let's do it a little later to give.
it's been
Oh,
voted
yeah.
on to keep them streamed.
5:30?
5:30. 5:30, Donna.
5:30.
5:30 is
It's been
fine.
voted on.
It'll give me time to feed my children and everything, so 5:30 is good.
Well, now let's hang on, because Mrs. Klein just made an excellent point. The policy says that all board meetings shall be streamed.
Is policy, is it policy?
Well, that's what y'all voted on.
We voted on it, yes, it's
But if that's-
policy.
It's in this room, I mean.
Yeah,
it's
but
our
It's
in
not
this
in
room.
this room, it's if we're having a meeting, that is policy.
All of
It's
our
not
meetings have
changing
always
policy
been in this
depending if we're
It's always
sitting
been in
under
this
the shade
room.
tree.
Until, see, when we were doing that before, we didn't have the YouTube, how-to, whatever.
If you're gonna have meetings, you gotta be able to stream them.
They have Wi-Fi, but I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
It would be the access, the
Yeah,
video
well,
cameras.
what I was saying, it couldn't be done with the equipment we have
I said,
here.
it's not a hard process if
So,
each school has
but we
Wi-Fi.
can-
It's just the equipment.
Yeah.
Aubrey, you can use my camcorder and hook it up.
Exactly, I mean, it's not.
But we'll work it out, we got a month to work it out.
And, I hope whenever we discuss the parking lot, I hope I don't have to wait another year. I can't express that year to get it done.
Well, it depends, we've got all that.
We
We'll
got
take-
money
we'll
put
talk
aside
about it.
for
We'll
that.
talk about it, yeah.
So there's no excuse to wait a year.
Well, it depends
Board
on,
member won't come up with something new that you have to go through again, okay?
Well, my gosh, let's all get down there and let's roll in that empty parking lot and let's just beat the ground and maybe it'll magically appear.
Okay.
A year is too long, and longer, I mean, it really, I tell you what it does to me. What little bit that I've gained respect for everybody, it's seeping away. It's just seeping away. It's like a hopeless situation. But now I've gained respect for people that I didn't think I would gain respect from. And we have understanding. Michelle and I have understanding. And she knows I can come to her and I can yell and whatever, and she can get in my face and she can just tell me whatever she wants to. But she's going to listen to what I have to say, and I'll listen to what she has to say. That's life. Russell and I are beginning to get a relationship. Like I said, he may not agree, but you know what? It's okay. We just slap it aside. He's going to listen anyway.
That's right.
And he can tell me whatever he wants to tell me. Because it's a free world. You can agree to disagree. But it does not mean that I have to like everything and that Laurel should have to wait. This is not about me. This is about 90 children that go to Laurel. And everybody says, well, it's not considered state. Well, if it's not considered state, let's get that money that you get per student, let's send it down to Laurel, and let's go ahead and do this.
well, we've got the proposal right here, we'll look at it.
No, because I want a whole one, a whole parking lot, not a strip.
Well, we'll see what we can come up with.
Michelle?
Number, Jonathan Lewis?
Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. There's a few things I'd like to discuss. One thing I'd like to know, is there something as simple as a form, an incident reform, in any of the schools on the bullying? That's filled out with pen, not poked in with buttons that can be manipulated, a piece of paper that can be filled out at any given time that a child can fill out, a teacher can fill out. Why is there an issue that stuff goes on, then later on, parent finds out about it? Then it's a great big blown out proportion. Then, whenever the parents do get involved in things, it's something as simple as you go try to find out what's going on. And the famous words of this school system is, I do not recall. I do not recall. You can have children going to the teachers, going to the administrative end of it, and all you hear back is, I do not recall. I don't recall that happening. You show them proof, and it's still, I do not recall. As an incident happened last year, we won't stretch this out. I've talked to you about it. I've talked to you about it. You both know about it. There's no sense going over it again. No sense beating a dead horse. But that could have all been stopped before it ever got started. One of your school security guards was involved in that. They knew about it before it happened. The vice principal knew about it, but they could not recall. Then my son had 3 days ISS because he had to defend himself. This school board has got way off track on everything. We need to simplify things. There's a lot of stuff that I see, and maybe they've changed some things, and I hope and pray that that middle school won't be such a drama from now on. I hope the changes they're making is going to stop all this drama up there. That is the dreaded school in this county, is the middle school. I've got another son, and another year will be up there, and I worry what it's going to be when he gets there. He's a bubbly young'un. I don't know if he'll interact good or if he'll have problems. I don't know. But I worry because of the drama that's went on in the past in that school. And the leadership in that school is just plumb terrible. And I hope the changes you're making will fix that problem. But these board members was put on this board to do certain jobs for all the people here in this county, and that's not what's happening. There's 2 or 3 people that's running this show, and they're not even board members. From my understanding, there's 5 board members. Raise your hand if you're a board member. All right, I see 3 more people sitting up here at this table. Parliamentary procedure says that you 3 should have your place out here to do your jobs. These are our boards right here. But this board has been extended out to 3 more positions. This board's been extended out to 3 more positions.
There's still just 5 board members.
There's 5 board
And
members.
this is our employee, and she is
Then
the
they need to have a hot
secretary.
seat right out here where you can ask them some
And-
stuff.
and
Instead
he's
of it
our-
looking like to the county that we've got 8 board members.
And he's our student board member.
I understand that. But they need to have a seat out here. You 5 are the board members. When people come in here to address you, you're the ones that should be addressing.
Okay.
What we heard there out of Mr. Jones, you spoke up out of line. You have no place to even be talking to that man because you're not a board member.
Actually, this,
You might not like his language. I might not like it. But here's the bottom line of it. The man's upset.
I understand that.
He's completely upset. All right, I remember the first board meeting I came in here last year. I come in here to that board meeting, and I sat here and I listened to what went on, and I went come to 2 or 3 meetings and kept my mouth shut, just soaking in the knowledge of what I was seeing. He stood in here and complained about what he went through to get special books for his son. That is just plumb. Why did he have to come this far? Why did he have to go that far to get books for his son because his son had problems reading and need an extra large print? Why does stuff get blown so far out of proportion throughout this whole system? There's other things on this. I don't know you, Mr. Russell. I don't know you. You don't know me. But there is some things that I don't understand about this board that you may say that's legal to do. Are you not the one that signs all the checks for the county members in this county?
My signature goes on every check that goes
Every
out of
check.
this
All right,
county.
now you may say that that's not illegal. But to me, there's a huge moral thing that I see there because idle hands is the devil's work. All right, who checks behind you to make sure everything's done right?
Comptroller and treasurer.
Jason
See,
Montgomery.
that's the problem I have with that. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. You're a board member and you're the treasurer. Any other board meeting,
I'm not the treasurer.
board members, well, that's what you, it's fancy letters, but you're the ones putting your signature on
I
everything.
just sign the checks that go out.
What is your official title?
Director of Accounts and Budgets.
He's the county's director of accounts and
But
budget.
that's what I'm looking at, and I'm not the only one that sees that way. There's a lot of parents won't speak up and say what they think because repercussion it could come upon their child in their absence. They worry about that. I do.
Mr. Lewis, I've actually, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I've actually had people ask me about that, and I checked into it. It's only legal because the General Assembly allows it to be done because they feel that people will not have any benefit. They're not going to get any gain from it, that their job's not crossing the lines. And he is guest listed on the county website as an official. His picture's there. Comptroller says he's an official, but he's not elected. He's appointed. So that's the loophole. That's how.
That's the loophole.
That makes it legal
See,
for
that's
him.
the
Now, whether it's
terminology that I'm
morally
talking
and
about right
ethically
here. There's
okay.
loopholes on everything that this county uses in their favor, and the parents then have to worry about their children because of all the loopholes used within this system. Why can't it get back to the basic? Like I said, I come in here and started watching some of these meetings, started watching them on YouTube, went back and watched a bunch of previous meetings, and I watched some of this stuff play out and the downfall on a lot of this stuff. All right, you've got too many people that's, maybe it's not happening, but I'll tell you how it looks. As the old saying is, if it smells like it and it looks like it, more likely it isn't. All right, but whenever you get to looking at things, and you get to seeing all these certain ones, pull them together, it looks like it's for financial gain for themselves instead of for the actual kids of this community. And I'm sorry that it's got to that point, but it shouldn't be that way. Things should be a lot simpler. All the time hollering, and I've said this in one of the meetings that I did get to stand up and talk to previously. All the time hollering over afraid of a lawsuit. Afraid of a lawsuit. We've got to change this because it might be a lawsuit. Stop all this nonsense. Let the kids be kids. Stop all this bullying. I agree 100%. You just need to get your ducks in the road and figure out what you're going to do to have a no bully policy. And then stick by it. Quit having loopholes that it works for one and it don't work for nobody else. That's the problem we got in this county. And we're not, as that lawyer said in one of the other meetings, he used California as an example. We're not California.
Correct.
Right,
We don't have to go with what they say.
right.
We need to be going with what the good Lord tells us we need to be doing and quit all this nonsense. You wouldn't have everybody standing in here all up in your roar and having these meetings that's all tore all to pieces if you get back to the basics.
We represent you, your tax dollars. for
That's
this
exactly right. It's not me,
You
it's the whole
elected us
county.
to be your hands and your,
We're your stewards.
we are, yes, sir. So
And
I
I said, and
apologize.
I've told several of you, up until last year, I'm at fault. Because I expected you guys, in my absence, I trusted you ones to do what was right for my kids. And not just mine, for every child in this county. And that's not what I'm seeing is happening. And it's time to stop all this nonsense. And speak up like you were supposed to. You are voted in to speak up and be a voice for the people in your area. And yes, I am in your area. You've sat up there since you got elected in and had very little to say. It's time for you to start doing what you said you would do. And that's be the voice of the area where you live. Now, thank you. You guys have a good evening.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Mr. Lewis.
Tiffany Cornett.
Bear with me. I hope I can get through all of this. I felt compelled to speak after hearing Miss Pam say it is not the school's job to take care of our kids' mental health at the end of last meeting. Mental health is a large part of us. When you have our children 75% of the week, you have to be concerned about their mental health. I want this board to understand how important it is for our schools to be trained and able to handle the topic of suicide. Just like they do drugs and other abuse, so kids know where to turn every single day. I am Tiffany Cornett. Sorry. I'm the mother of Blake DeRocha, a child who did not check any of the red flag boxes. sorry. I want you to understand who my son was. He had just turned 14 years old. He had a job. He had 2 loving homes. My son came from a good family. His parents and bonus parents loved him so much. His grandparents, great-grandparents, aunts and uncles, siblings that he had spent most of his time with. His family are leaders in this community. He had all he ever wanted and needed. He was my best friend. We were inseparable and talked about everything. But he had one thing, one thought he never shared. Even with all his needs met, so much love and promising future, he still felt he couldn't tell us one thing. He felt he had to solve his own problems. Blake made that choice. I'm not here to blame any of y'all. I'm not here to blame the school. He made that choice on his own, and that's his choice. How would you feel as a child without that love and support? Not having those parents at home. Needing help but not knowing how to get it. That is why I'm standing here tonight. After Blake's incident, each class was told. An assembly happened, a therapy dog brought in, valid health counselors were brought in. Was all of that done for my baby because he was still alive for 9 whole days? Was it because he didn't die on that night? Was there a school investigation into what happened the day with Blake? The experiences he spoke about once he got home. He didn't throw his book bag down and have the worst day of his life because of an experience while he was at home. He did it after getting off the bus. He only went to school 1 day that whole month. The administration needs to stop saying only 3, as if that makes it any better. 4 weeks after that assembly happened, over 100 kids at Mountain City, or at the middle school and high school, over 100 kids sought help. They mentioned they had self-harm thoughts, threatened suicide, or signed into Woodridge for assessment. All of those kids are suffering in silence. When I was at the high school for Blake's Day, many students said my presence helped them by showing I support them. They said they felt like they would be okay after speaking with me. You have a problem in this county, a huge problem. Be thankful only 3 died. That should be none. That number should be 0 in our county. We're not a big county. Mental health is so important. The siblings, friends of these students need to have care long term. They need to know what doors open at any time for help. Were the teachers of all the siblings brought together for a refresher course on how to handle classroom incidences appropriately in a kind, calm fashion? If a child mentioned suicide, were those teachers told about what to do after each one of these suicides, or was it just Blake? Did all the students know they could talk to someone, and who beyond that 1 day could they talk to? If it is not your job to care for the students' mental health, then it is not your job to feed, clothe, delegate lunches, or help them with trips or anything else. Many children are being raised by grandparents, extended family. They may be in 2-parent working households, some in homes where they aren't safe to share with their guardians and don't feel loved. The school has to be giving them the information needed to make healthy, positive choices in their lives at every stage, repeatedly, in all topics, not just suicide, drugs, sex, alcohol, everything. Everything. I know teachers love their students. I'm a substitute teacher in this county. I love every single student that I go in and teach for. I love every one of these teachers. It takes everyone doing their part. It really takes a village. I am not going anywhere. I will be at every one of these meetings. I have kids in these schools. I have 3 more. 1 in that middle school. Still. I also care deeply for all of these kids. I will speak up and I will listen to any who feel the need that they need help. Teachers need to be trained to help more. In doing so, it helps the community, not as a counselor, but to know what to do when something isn't right with a student, or how to respond to the siblings and friends of students who have died. Or maybe we just need to see more consistency in these trainings. In the November 14th meeting, we were told that all the teachers were trained in the Jason Foundation, and it was what they used. The school has been working with the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network and Action Coalition on suicide for years. But for some reason, everyone forgot their training last semester. I'm so very proud of this board for putting Action Coalition youth back into the school during school hours. Again, I am here to speak up for all the kids who still feel like life is too much for them. But they can't talk to anyone. Mental health is extremely important for all of us. We have to consent information and open communication for them so they know they know that they're here, they're heard, they're seen, and their life matters. I want you to say their names. His name was Blake.
Blake.
And I appreciate y'all for letting me talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Appreciate, thank everybody for speaking today.
With that, can I excuse you for 1 second? Excuse me. With that being said, I know there was training that came right after. But what's implemented with the schools? We had the kids held an assembly. That was the kids that did that. The kids actually messaged me pictures of them, and several of the middle school kids reached out and showed me what they had done. What do we continue to do? What is our policy? So I want to add that, because I actually have it with me here as something I wanted to put on. I have our suicide policy, or whatever it is. I also want that added to the bullying meeting, that there is a set schedule with speakers. I don't care how much money it costs, with speakers that come in and have assemblies.
Well, I've had
quarterly.
I've had several phone calls that say that assemblies are a little overboard because it takes their kids away from math and science and, but.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yes, and they said that their children were taking care of their children.
We have kids being pulled out for RTI that don't even need it.
Well,
When my kids were in ITI, I said, what do they do?
Yes.
Even if the assembly isn't like all the time, what about once a month, getting together the group of kids that want to do that, having their parents sign them up for that, or having the kids, even if they can't talk to their parents, having the kids do that. Those kids need that, because not all kids come from a home like Blake did. This county is a very poor county. Those kids need that help. There's a lot of grandparents that can't drive their kids to go get mental health help. something needs to be done in the school, during school hours for those kids.
Yeah.
And we are still working passionately with the National Center for Crisis and Bereavement. We are working with ETSU for resilience training. They were actually supposed to be here on Monday with our staff, and of course we didn't have because of the weather. They're coming back the end of the month. Ms. Wills can talk about some other things that we have going on, just to help provide anything that we can help provide resources, not only for our students but also for our staff.
For the staff,
Yeah.
We also are working with the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network, and we actually are in the midst of trying to get that training scheduled for faculty. And we're trying to work that out to go ahead and do some of that now and not wait until summer. It's just logistically trying to get coverage for classrooms, and so we are in the midst of working that schedule out. We also will be working with our principals, then they will be taking and doing some things at the school site with some suggestions from the bereavement center. And then we, of course, are still working with them. We have a call coming up in just a couple more weeks to revamp. Like, they wanted to wait until we had some things in place with the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network and Action Coalition, and then they are going to follow up with us to see where we're at in that process. But there are several things in place that we are working on.
So,
And I totally agree, we definitely need additional support. And I've also written a grant with, can't think of the name of it right off the top of my head right now, but I just sent that back in on Monday with revisions, and part of that was to hire an additional behavioral therapist. So I'm hoping that they will review that quickly, and then we will be able to post a position.
so we can still set up assemblies even if they're 30 minutes quarterly per grade.
We
We
will
do
work-
RTI for kids that don't need anything. It's wasted
We will work
educational time when we can take out and do
With
this kind of
the
stuff.
Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network and Action Coalition and the Bereavement Center to determine exactly what are the best strategies for us to implement with our students. And different things occur at different ages.
Right.
What's appropriate for middle school may not be appropriate at the elementary level. And so working with them to make sure that we're doing what's best.
As a board, we can make a policy that is for middle and high. It doesn't have to include the littles if these people don't suggest that.
Yes.
They're the mental health professionals.
And I think we need to go by their suggestions.
That's what I just said. They're the mental health, but as a board, we can absolutely make policy, that's our choice, to put in place assemblies that cover the middle and high school. And then go by whatever for whatever they suggest, the mental health professionals to decide the youngers, or even a guide. But I absolutely feel that is most definite time. These kids that have reached out to me, they've loved that assembly because they were able to look around and they saw, like I've been saying for years, I won't go there, but I've asked for this for years. 4 years, to be precise. 4 years.
Mr. Long,
Yes.
have we got any heat in this building?
I know, I'm froze to death.
Herbie, could you check the heat, please?
But, I mean, we've been asking this 4 years. 4 years to get something like this in place. And yet we're behind. So I don't want it just worked on. I want, whenever we do that meeting, we need to have an answer. So if you can reach out and see what they suggest for the younger ones and let us know when we have the work session so we can get this in place.
We have a call with them, but their schedules are very, very busy, so they tell us when they can meet with
We can
us.
reach out to some psychiatrists in the area that treat children, child psychiatrists. We can reach out to them because I know the numerous teens that were so excited to see what they pulled off. And they wanted me to know, actually, to quote one of them, was take this to the board. Show them what we did. They didn't do this, we did. I still have it. But I won't do that because it's a child. But they wanted to make sure that all y'all and all of us knew that those children took it upon themselves to support each other with their mental health and to allow each other to have that open communication to talk about things. And if those kids can pull it off, by gosh, I bet your socks we can too. So if you could find out what they suggest for the young children, by the time we do this work session, that would be amazing. Thank you.
And again, thank you everybody that spoke. Item number 4, recognition of visitors and delegations. Mountain City Elementary is up first.
Report card before we do this right here. Let's see what the report card is first.
I'll turn it over to Ms. Gentry.
We'll just do this one.
If you don't get
So
back.
for those of you that don't know me, I'm Miss Gentry. I'm the principal at Mountain City Elementary. This is my first year there as principal. When we were asked to recognize someone this evening, we sent a message out to our staff to get some ideas and to get some, to see who they supported. We decided to recognize our custodial staff this evening. Mr. Mike, if you'll come up. Mr. Mike Eastridge is here representing that staff. We had some illness and things that kept our other custodians from being here this evening, but Mike is here. I'll take these back to the others. The rest of our staff is Heather Johnson, Wendy Nelson, and Debbie Thomas. We're proud of them and how they keep our school in great shape, especially after the hurricane and everything that had to be done. It was amazing how quickly they put it back in order and we were ready for kids.
And I want to brag on them because our main community site was at Mountain City, and these custodians, all of our custodians worked hard, but they had to work double, triple hard because we had so many people coming in there at all times. They were tearing down boxes, they were taking out garbage. I mean, they were constantly, plus doing their regular job, and it was very much appreciated. Thanks.
Well,
Thank you.
thank y'all. Picture.
Hey Herbie, while they're doing that, could you care to give me the copy of that grant for the meat processing book at the end of the meeting, please? Thank you.
Johnson County Parents Coalition.
Yes. And forgive me for sitting, I'm having a bit of an inner ear problem, so I'll try to speak as loud as I can. My name is Emily Stonesoffer. I'm the founder of the Johnson County Parents Coalition. For those of you who don't know what that is, our goal is to be the tool that bridges the gap between parents and the school system. Mr. Lewis, you and anybody that you know that has an issue with the school system, you can come to me. It's 100% anonymous, whatever your grievance is, and I will find answers for you, sir. I will fight for that, because that's what we do. I would like to thank our school board representative, Mr. Griever, for his efforts in pushing our coalition forward into the future for our kids.
Miss Emily, I'm gonna interrupt you right
Go ahead.
there. With that being said, with him being listed as a school board, like as, I don't have his page, but somebody else, you had shared it. And it talks about how you guys have done this and that and put all this together.
Yes.
Okay? Our other board members can't come. So
I know.
Herbie couldn't come to us to give us a presentation or even give us time. I mean, not his fault, but we didn't even have time to look at financials. How are we gonna project this and that and where all this money, well, hold on.
Yes,
Wait a
okay,
minute.
go ahead.
With the money. But he was able to come to your coalition. I, as a school board, couldn't come. Open meeting
I would
law.
love for you to come.
I can't.
I know.
I
I
cannot.
know.
We can't.
But, no, we can't. I've already checked with the
As
attorney
long as we
today.
don't discuss board
Nope,
policy,
we
can
can't
go.
even be there.
Well, I can't go to a ball game if you're there.
He, not when they're talking about school board stuff, and he's sitting there. I already talked to TSBA this afternoon right before I came. So that's open meeting law. Also, you doing what you're doing is fantastic. I think that is freaking amazing and it's been needed forever. However, Chad, which is great that he's helping you, he's a elected board member.
Right.
He cannot represent that. He can't be pushing that. He can't be listed on that as a school board.
Sure.
That is not legal.
Sure.
No, he cannot. You cannot tie him. The board never approved for him to have that position because you guys are getting together, which is fine now. You all could talk and go to Michelle's meetings and the rest of the board has no clue what's happening. Okay? There's where your system breakdown is. People want the board to work as a board. We can't work as a board if some people are having these meetings, and I love that you're having the meeting, but you cannot have it as a board representative.
So you're
can't-
frustrated that
I'm
we've
not.
established a parents coalition,
No.
which has a seat
No.
at the table and is working closely with central office and accomplishing a lot.
No. No, I'm not. No, that's not. Don't twist what I'm saying.
Okay.
You're twisting it to make it sound different than what it is. The simple fact is, if you want to have a parent coalition and have a board rep, have all 5 of us
I'll tell you
as
what,
your rep, because that was never voted upon.
Hold on.
He cannot be listed or representing the attorney with TSBA this afternoon. Said you can take the name down and not use our school system, or you
I
can
want-
take him off.
I'm gonna let her have the floor, she has the floor, and then we'll come back to Tuscany. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So what we do is we have a meeting once a month with our parents, and we come and we discuss our issues with the school system. We come and we discuss what we like about the school system. We come and we discuss ideas on how to fix the school system. And then I take those ideas, issues, and I bring them back to Dr. Simcox, completely anonymous. And we work together to get answers for the parents, which I then relay back to the parents. It's been working really great. We did have a meeting Tuesday, and we did vote on issues that we would like to bring to the board. We do know that you guys cannot vote on this right now, which is fine. I would rather you guys take a month and get acquainted with these ideas by the laws, understanding, and then vote. So I'm gonna read those to you now if you don't mind.
Sure. And would
So-
you have a copy for us? If you don't, just send us.
I can
an
email it to you,
That's fine.
no problem. Number 1, nutrition. We, the Johnson County Longhorn Parents Coalition, respectfully request the board lend its support to Dr. Simcox and Kathy McCulloch, our school's nutritionists, in their endeavors to enhance lunch meal options for our students. It is our belief that providing a greater variety of lunch meal choices is essential for students' well-being. We propose that students be allotted more diverse options, even if it just involves a pre-wrap sandwich, along with the main meal. Second, teaching assistants. At Johnson County Longhorn Parents Coalition, we strongly urge the board to show their support for our excellent teachers by committing to an annual addition to teaching assistants within our educational system. Our goal is to ensure that every teacher has access to at least one assistant in the classroom. By doing so, we aim to empower our outstanding educators by providing them with the necessary resources to thrive in their roles. Happy bees make better honey. Testing. Every year, our children face the pressures of state testing. As parents, we understand that this board cannot do away with the testing, but we are respectfully asking that this board make available the test scores for our students away from the Connections Academy. Parents don't know these scores. All we see are what the news states. We would like to see what our children are doing, even if you could break it down to individual classrooms, just so our kids know. Something that broke my heart. We have a member who was a student here and now works for the system. And that person said that they felt stupid while in school because of these grades, because they didn't know that the Connections Academy was involved in those points. So we need to do a better job at getting parents more informed that, hey, this is not just our school, this is Connections Academy, and this is what our school is. And that gives us a better assessment on where we are in our brick and mortar school systems. We cannot allow these scores to affect these teachers or our students, because that score is not the value of what they're all worth. We have excellent educators, we have excellent students.
Hey, Emily, on that, and you talked to me about that.
Yeah.
Wanting to know. So I've called TSBA. Ben Torres actually did a presentation on it a few years ago. He originally said there was no way, but then he said, well, there is a way. He said it can be done manually. Okay. So I also have left message at the Tennessee School Board, or the state school board. So I'm waiting on their return call.
Perfect.
But it can be removed. Perfect. They can be done manually. So that those numbers are easily. I was going to ask them tonight if they can go ahead and start working on that here at
We've always done that.
Always done it.
When we do the report card, when we present information, we always take out each school. Like we show each school, we take out what Connections Academy is. The state does not.
Okay.
You
They
know.
just said they could take it out manually?
That would have to be the state.
So you have those
We can
numbers?
take ours out. We've always done that.
Yeah,
We have always done that when we present.
so we can make those numbers readily available.
Yeah, you'll actually see it tonight when Mr.
Perfect.
Hagman presents the report card.
Fixed. That's good.
Wonderful, great, I'll check that off. Okay, and our last one, is the public relations. So we at Johnson County Longhorn Parents Coalition urge this board to consider a strategic hire of a public relations professional for our school system. Johnson County schools represent more than just an educational institution. They embody a vibrant community brimming with excellent students, dedicated teachers, and great programs. It is crucial that the Tri-Cities region becomes aware of Johnson County commitment to foster a brighter future for all.
So what was that in layman's?
Making a public, in layman's terms, so you're gonna make
Just
a
a
public,
short-
a PR representative for our
relations.
school system.
To do
So-
what?
To just enhance our school's reputation.
What does that mean?
Well, you know, we have so many things coming with the meat processing plant. So you're on the Johnson County Longhorn, you're on the Facebook page.
I have it, yes.
Okay, so I posted a video of Herbie's presentation and you can watch it right there. And it's about 25 minutes long. And
I
he-
actually had popped on it before I got here, but I didn't have time to really look at it. But that's
Okay.
where I noticed that he had presented it.
I'll highlight you in it so that you can see it. So
No,
it's
please
easier for you
don't.
to find.
Don't highlight me.
Okay.
Um,
But you can hear all of these great programs that they're starting.
Bring it to the board. Let's put it here on TV while it's streamed.
I mean,
Because I'd like
if
to
you
know
wanna
all
do
about
that.
it. I've not even seen any paperwork on any of this stuff. I would
Maybe
love
Herbie,
to have it
maybe Herbie
presented.
can do another
We've done-
presentation.
yeah,
I mean, you may have done it.
We have
Doesn't
done
mean
in
I
the
was
past.
here. But I mean, that would be great if they could come in here and do it for all of us. Presentations.
I mean, if you want to. I mean, I'm not in charge of this board. I'm just.
No, I'm just
I mean,
talking
We
with
look
you.
at it.
It sounds like it'd be a good idea.
No, I love it. He was so enthusiastic. It was a great presentation.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
I think you guys really should start doing more public information like that.
Yeah,
I really
I
do.
agree. I think it'd be great.
But a PR would also highlight the schools, the teachers, help morale. You know, students could get involved. This could be a really great thing.
And help push it to the social media, the Facebook, the
Yeah.
Twitter,
Yeah.
the Instagram.
And it'd be
that kind of stuff.
one person.
Yeah.
That's
We're-
what I like about it.
We're coming up on budget time, and that's where we'd have to look at doing that, so I have no problem with it.
I would definitely want
I
the
think it's something
suicide
to see.
prevention stuff budgeted first. We need to figure out that before we can move forward trying to budget PR people. I mean, that's PR, that's great, but
We'll
we
be
need to,
budgeting.
we need to get that other stuff on the budget
Well,
first.
I'll lean more than any meat processing thing, that's for sure.
School, so kind of highlight our school and what we do
Yeah.
out in the public, like on a social media page.
Yeah.
Okay, have anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you so
Cool.
much.
Thank
And
you.
I do want to say, I appreciate Emily, the meetings that we've had with her have been so productive, and we've been able to, she's brought concerns to us, we've been able to answer questions that she might not have known the legalities.
So
or-
who all's in your all's meetings?
Well, the last time that she met with us, it was myself, Miss Wills, and Mr. Hagaman. It just, because we do them during the day, and it's just trying to pull in, you know, supervisors and, who can meet and just hear the issues and talk about them. And one of the things that come out of that, and I'll go ahead and share this, was, you know, a newsletter. And we're gonna actually start, I've already got it, I've got it done and ready to go. We were gonna mail it out to all the families, but I think feasibly, it's probably better just to post it on our website. And we're looking to try to figure out a way to email it to parents, so that they can have just monthly information of just upcoming events and resources, like what is our attendance policy? What is the steps?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think that should have been
Yeah.
done forever on the
I mean,
school.
we have it on there, it's on our website, it's on the student handbook, but like you said, the student handbook is full of so much
nobody's reading
information. So pulling just little things out, just to spotlight every month, just where it's right there, it's easy to read. So,
Yeah.
and that will actually go live tomorrow.
And
for
don't get
every
me
meeting,
wrong.
I do transcripts.
Hmm?
For every meeting, I do transcripts. And I can give you those notes if
No, I
you
don't
would
need
like
that.
to know something.
I mean, I can watch
Or we
it.
can go over it. I
No,
mean, it doesn't
I don't
matter.
have time. Like at a board meeting, you bring in it would be great.
Well, I'm gonna be really honest with you. It was between you and Chad for a representative, and I didn't.
I
think
can't
you
do
would
it.
have Chad.
No,
Yeah,
I don't.
That's why.
No,
Chad
but
is.
also it's not legal. He can't do that.
I don't know. I've never seen.
Well, that's
a
what
law
I'm
that
telling
says-
you. It's not legal.
Can you send me the law that
I can let you call Ben.
Okay,
Hold on a minute, please. I'm not finished. But I want you to know that I am not trying to be ugly to you.
I don't think.
I
you're being
think
ugly to
what
me.
you're doing is amazing.
Thank you.
I do. But you gotta understand that we are elected officials, okay? And we can be tied legally to this stuff. And when it's coming on as Johnson County School Systems Parent Coalition,
It doesn't say school systems. It
well,
just
it's
says Johnson
schools,
County.
whatever, I think it's, I don't know, I have pictures. But it also says that this is our board representative. He's representing our board. He can't do that.
So would you like it?
He can be just
Our
Chad Griever.
representative?
He can be just Chad Griever. The attorney said it can be just Chad Griever, or it can be take off your school system.
he can be Chad Griever school board member, but for that.
Not as a
district,
rep, he
whatever.
can't.
So why don't y'all just have whatever the lawyer said,
Mhm.
have that emailed to her, so she understands what's
Yes,
going on.
I'm just saying you
You
can't.
You can tell, I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but this thing is dragging on and on.
It is. I
Listen,
agree.
you can, let's just get this open. If the lawyer, you've talked to the lawyer's told you what you can do and can't do, email it to her, let her go from there.
It's just like it's representing all of us,
I got Ben's
but it's not representing the board. Does that make sense?
I've got Ben's number. I'll let you call him and talk to him. I'll
Yeah.
call him,
I
tell him
mean,
you'll call, and then you
And
call him, talk
he's
to him.
very
and you can get
responsive
it.
to do that.
He is.
Okay, are we through?
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, thank you.
One simple question. I think the newsletter is fantastic. Can we make a part on that newsletter that has the suicide number on it?
Action Coalition.
I can do that.
That's perfect.
stuff, yeah.
Information
I
for
can-
that?
I can
Yep.
definitely add that.
Thank you. And what about grandparents or other family members that don't have email or internet or?
They can come in and
Okay.
get a copy of it. That's something I'm gonna,
Can we
Yeah.
make
and I'm gonna do a
them?
call out. I'm gonna do a call out
Okay.
saying this is available. It's on the website. It's on our Facebook page. If you'd like to come in and get a printed copy, please do. Or
Maybe
if we could mail, you know,
Leave
if we
some at the
needed
schools and
to.
let the kids take it.
I was gonna say
Yes.
some of the schools, that would be fantastic.
We could mail, you know, we do have email lists.
I know mailing is just a lot to do. That's a
Yeah.
lot of parents.
All of our students have a JoCo Ed email address,
Yeah.
as you know, but if we send it out to students, I mean, I'll just be honest,
But-
like,
I
I would
don't
never
get
have seen
half-
it from my boys,
I don't get half the paperwork. my
except
kids
when they were in
work on.
elementary school. So, you know, we knew that wouldn't probably, it would get
Yeah.
out to your elementary parents more so than your middle and high school.
Okay.
So, yes, I will definitely add that, and
Thank
we'll
you.
do
I appreciate
Thank
that.
you. It's a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Item number 5, approval of the agenda. Oh,
Real quick.
what we got? Oh, we're going with candidates, I'm sorry. I had that marked off.
I mean, look, I barely saw it.
This is something that we are very, very excited about these employees that have done this. They are taking their own initiative and doing this, and Angie oversees this with the Grow Your Own. So I'm gonna let her explain a little bit to you about what the actual program is, but we wanted to recognize them tonight.
We've got actually 2 Grow Your Own programs kind of going right now. The first one started last January with Northeast State, and this program is for our employees that maybe do not have a 2-year or 4-year degree. And so we started that cohort, and we have 2 people here tonight that's been in that. So they've actually completed their first year, and I think hopefully maybe by fall, definitely by January, you all will be headed over to a 4-year institution. Is that correct? That's what we're hoping. But they are doing this working full time. They also work after school childcare and do Leaps in 21st Century. I honestly don't know how they do all that they do, and they also take care of their families, which is a huge responsibility. But we're just super excited. The second one we finally have Isabella, who is going to be, she is actually in the actual state Grow Your Own program, and she is working on her 4-year degree. And we had a call this week with them, and hopefully she's going to be done maybe by next December, and we're really excited. But all of these ladies have worked full-time, like I said, and they have done an excellent job. They're excellent employees. We can't say enough good things about them. But we have Tiffany Doss. Tiffany, if you'll come on up. She is an assistant at Doe Elementary. We have Lily Webster, who is an assistant. We have Lily, who is an assistant at Laurel Elementary. And then we also have Isabella Phipps, who is an assistant at Rome Creek. And I just can't tell you how proud that I am. This has been something that we've wanted to do for a long time, and it felt like it was never going to work out. Lillian can tell you how many years did we talk about this, like probably 4 years, and so it finally felt so good to start, and I just can't tell you how proud I am of each of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all again.
Thank you all.
Now we can go to item
Thank
5.
you.
Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Mr. Griever?
Yes.
Ms. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes. Consent agenda. Is there anything on there you want to pull off, look at?
I'll tell you what I'd like to do,
Separately.
Mr. Long.
Yes, sir.
Let's move item 10 up to item 9 and 9 down to 10 slot.
We've got a young lady, well, the reason that's there is because she's got to travel, but she's back here to present, but it's totally up to the board, whatever y'all want to do.
One kind of deals with the other, so it might be.
Oh, yeah, well, we're outside the consent agenda anyway, but there's 3 items in that consent agenda, so if you want to move them later. We'll go ahead and approve the consent agenda, and then we'll move on from there. Get a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve consent agenda. I need a second.
Second.
And a second. Have any further call the roll, please.
Mr. Griever?
Yes.
Ms. Klein?
Yep.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes. And you wanted to move number 10 above
Let's
9?
do the report card first, and then we'll talk about the contract with Connection Capital.
Yeah, let's let Jackson do his report. He's it won't take just a minute, and then we'll get that. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey y'all, Happy New Year, 2025. I'm excited about this. Here's my report for January. So our FFA team had awesome competition. So they placed second in regional parliamentary procedure, and then in March they're going to be competing at state. You can see our team members up there. Or up there, I don't know. There's our team members on the FFA. They all do a wonderful job, and I know they're all really passionate about it. We have a great FFA program. And if you'll go to the next slide, you can see some of the awards that were given out. We have Julia Cruz. She placed first in prepared public speaking.
That's our junior rep.
Katie Litford placed first in extemporaneous public speaking.
That's hard.
And Haley Chant placed third in job interview. And Asher Mislep placed second in creed speaking. So congratulations to all of them. Like I said, we have a wonderful FFA program. So great job to all you guys. Next up, our robotics competitions. They got 2 upcoming ones. One's going to be on the 25th in Kingsport, and then the next one's happening February 7th and 8th in Bristol. So good luck to both of the teams at the high school. And then here's your basketball schedule. I can't 100% say this is going to be accurate due to weather and stuff, but the game that was for tomorrow has been moved up to tonight. You might be able to catch some of the boys' game. It's supposed to start in about 30 minutes. And then you can see the rest of the games. We have a couple at home, couple away, and then after February 10th, the basketball tournaments are going to start. So we've had great teams, boys and girls. They've all done wonderful this season. And that's all I have. Not a ton going on this month, but that's what I got. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're excused. You need to leave. Thank you, sir. Is that what you all want to do, is we move 10 up? We can do it.
Fine with me.
Mr. Hagman?
Good evening. I'm Mark Hageman. I am the Secondary and Accountability Supervisor for Johnson County Schools, and I appreciate the opportunity to take a look at our system's performance data. And while we're not where we want to be yet, I do take a minute to recognize the hard work of our teachers, administrators, and staff for their dedication. It's been invaluable to get us where we're at now. This presentation is an opportunity to see what we're doing well, to see what we still have room to improve, and to keep that conversation going as we work together for improving our school system. So with that said, let's take a look at the data. This is our, maybe a little hard to see there, but this is our school letter grades for the 23-24 school year. And this does include Connections Academy, the 4-8 and the 9-12 at the bottom. The first column is achievement scores, which is the success rate for the TCAPs or integrated testing and of course testing. And those achievement scores range from 1 to 5, and you can see we do have areas to celebrate there. And the second column is the growth. This is determined by TVOS, which is a value-added formula, and I have a slide that talks about that a little bit more in depth later. And the third column is the growth 25, which was new to the state of Tennessee last year, which is also a growth measure that takes into account your lowest performing students. And the next column is college and career ready, which obviously only affects the 9-12 schools. The total points is what ultimately determines the letter grade assigned to the schools. And it's in, I have the scale a little bit later too. I'm gonna flip it to last year's just so you can see a comparison before we move on. And that's last year's, so for the 22-23 school year. This information Dr. Long presented a year ago at this board meeting. So this is what we looked like a year ago, and I'll flip it back to now. Where we definitely have room to grow and to improve is that growth measure, the TVOS. And it's across the board for most schools. Obviously, Rome Creek and Mountain City have Rome Creek in particular has a really fantastic growth score there. And that's indicated in their letter grade as well. Here's the,
Mr. Hager?
yes.
That growth score, now what is that?
Okay, let me just do the grade scale calculation
Okay.
real quick there, and then I'll get to it. That's the corresponding numeric score, so let's go back to that. For example, those total points was a 2, and that fell in the D range. So we do have a couple of schools, Mountain City, 10th point away from a D, high school 10th point away from a C. So that gives you some idea of what score you needed to reach that area. The question was, what is TVOS? And I'm not going to read all that to you, but it's a value-added system.
I have a question,
Sure.
Mr. Hageman. So you all always separate the scores from Connections Academy. Where was that on there?
It was the bottom two.
So they're not, that is completely without their scores?
Say that again.
Right here, it says Tennessee Connections Academy
That's
/
specific to those
Johnson
schools.
County 9 through 12.
But that's what our Connections Academy is called, is Tennessee Connections Academy in Johnson County.
That's
So
specific to that school.
where's the high school and stuff? So the Tennessee
no.
Connections Academy, Johnson County K through 8, Tennessee Connections Academy, Johnson County 9 through 12.
Yeah.
They have 2 schools.
And that's what they refer, that's what they're called.
So the one up top is ours, and that
Yes.
one theirs is already separated.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
for
it's
this.
So Johnson County High School has a D, Johnson County Middle School has a B, and then the Tennessee Connections
That's
Academy.
Yeah,
That's last
that's
last year.
Right, okay, so
Sorry,
down
back
there,
up.
but that's how I'm looking at it. Was I right in reading that off? Was that-
Yes, here's those.
So here you have the Connections Academy, then we have up here still a D. Okay,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
thank you.
How many of these schools, our schools, have undergone an administration change?
All of one.
Okay, so there is hope for room to grow.
Yes.
Absolutely, and I'll talk about some of the things we're doing.
Do you have records of the past years? Like the last 10 years,
Not
what our
on here,
scores are?
but, well, we.
You can get them for us, though.
Absolutely, yeah.
That'd be awesome. I'd like to see how our growth.
Yeah, the school letter
But I
grades
have,
just started.
I do have the data. if
You have the
that's something-
data, though?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it can be figured. So by looking at it to see what our growth has been or how our scores have been over the last 10 years, is
Right.
like, what would I like to see? What is our numbers the last 10 years? Are we showing growth?
Right.
Thank you.
Sure. And Mr. Matheson, your question about the growth, it's the TVOS, and let me get to that slide. It is a data-driven tool that is used to measure academic progress of all K-12 students in Tennessee. Basically what it does, it evaluates how much value schools and teachers add to the learning of specific students based on the standardized test scores of that student or that school over time. It helps us as educators and policymakers and stakeholders understand the effectiveness of the teaching practices and school performance. And it's basically a predictive model where they will tell us what we think a student should perform at, and then the growth is determined whether they get close to it or exceed it.
Yeah, okay.
We use that for evaluating teacher effectiveness. I've spoken to, and we've tirelessly spoken to administrators about professional development in regards to TVOS, because we understand that growth is where we're missing the mark here. Our proficiency scores stand up against many schools, especially in the first core, but we have missed the mark with some growth.
Mainly what age are we missing the mark the most? What level of school? I mean, you should be able to tell.
Right now, it's across the board now.
So even elementary, all the elementaries are just as bad as
Well,
middle school and high school
no,
across the board?
as I said earlier, Mountain City and Rome Creek especially. Rome Creek scores are up there statewide in terms of growth.
Right, I've been watching that. So
Yeah.
Rome Creek, Mountain City Elementary are kind of highest on the grade card right now. So the rooms of improvement, we know where we need to be.
It did, and Connections Academy, the Growth 25, they're.
Right, but they're not in this, right? Figured truly, right?
It is,
We still have students.
we have students there, and the
So
state
with it being
recognizes,
separated, it's separate from us.
except when we're looking at a system as a whole, and I think that's what you're.
Well, I don't want to see the system as a whole.
Right.
I mean, they're there. I
Right.
mean, we moved their money this summer for
Right.
their academy, but they're not us. So we can't get a real true reading on our scores. Like, say I wanted to move here from Knoxville, and I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to look on Zillow or whatever, and I'm going to scroll. I'm going to say, what is here for activities? How's the healthcare in this county? What's their school systems like? Have you done that?
Well, these are specific to these schools.
No, I'm not
Oh,
talking
you're
about,
talking
I
about
don't
Zillow?
care
No.
about them.
When I moved here, I did, yeah.
I mean, but I mean,
Yeah. So
our
show them.
numbers, not the projection or anything with Connections, because they are but aren't us. You see what I'm saying? And I hear a lot that the Connections Academy is the one that makes us look bad. We're not bad on our own.
These scores are specific to these schools and these communities, so.
Right, so.
If you go on the state website and you pull up Johnson County School System, and it gives you the letter grade for the whole school system, it
Right.
does factor in Connections.
It does, which is a C here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this right here is, we have the two separations.
Right, and if you, for example, if you were moving to the Doe community, you would pull up this, and that is those are the scores and metrics you would get for Doe on the state website.
Yeah, because the Connection Academy aren't our kids. They're not in, do we get money for them? I mean, like besides besides that money that moves, I mean,
Heather, we've got how many kids left?
are we getting, how is all that working?
No. 20 minutes.
We get funded for those students.
Right. But everybody says it hurts our scores, it hurts us being able to get other kind of things into our county because our grade card's low. I have some literature that I had asked for from the state. I haven't really got time to read through all of that, like the benefits and this and that. So, having these numbers, but when you're talking just now, you added them back together again as in a whole, but we really need to focus on us.
Right, and I don't have a system-wide in here other than just what I said, but the breakdown for this presentation is specific to each school. Yeah. So the limitations of the growth measure, the TBOS, would be that it does look at the growth, not raw achievement, which, again, I have said that our schools, scores with our schools are pretty good. And the principals I've spoken with in regards to this, I think we understand the challenge of trying to balance growth and proficiency, but we'll take success rate any day over the growth measure through TBOS, because it's bottom line, how many kids do we have passing a test at the end of the year? And our proficiency rate's pretty good.
So with the proficiency and everything you have there, that's how the kids are actually doing. With the growth and the growth 25, yes. That's how the state, quote unquote, week expects you to be doing.
Yes.
And the biggest limitation is that the growth 25, you're hammered twice. You have your lowest 25%, and it's the same metrics, it's the same students, it's the same model. It just counts again against you.
It counts against us because we have the Connection Academy?
No.
No.
Or any student, or
Just any
school,
student?
yeah. And that 25%. And this talks a little bit more about the growth 25 metric. It's based on the bottom 25% of students in a school or a course that's taught. So if you have a low performing 25% of students, you get a score for that, which is the growth score, and the growth score, which is the same. And
Thank you for explaining
sure.
that.
And it's calculated using the information from the most recent year enrollment data assessment scores. And this is just something that I pulled because these are county systems in First Tennessee, and I didn't break it down by school names. I just wanted you to see similar schools in neighboring counties and how many had A's, B's, C's, D's, and unfortunately F's in this case.
I saw that on the news.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
So did they change something this year with growth and growth 25? Because I actually went in and did a raw data pulled down 12 districts in Northeast Tennessee, 7 of the counties, 5 of the cities. 5 districts had an increase in scores. 6 districts saw a decrease in scores. 3 of the 5 city districts saw a decrease in scores, which is rare because normally they're the juggernauts.
Right.
Did they do something to tweak growth and growth 25 or how they're evaluating things? Because that, to have half the districts in Northeast Tennessee drop in scoring,
The growth
seems odd.
Yeah, the growth 25 metric was new last year, so we're second year into that.
So everybody's still getting a feel for it?
We are still getting a feel for that. I think anytime you see numbers like we've seen across the state, across this region, what you're referring to, we, like many states in the state of education in general, are facing teacher shortages, and particularly in critical subjects in high school. Well, we fight that all the time. But that could be indicative of a lot of different things, resource limitations, equity gaps, test anxiety, as we talked about earlier.
And the state's constantly changing the cut scores every year.
They're changing what?
The cut scores.
Right.
Like what it takes to be at a certain level. So that's been changing every year from the state.
State changing cut scores?
Cut scores.
Yes. Okay.
And the actual TBOS formula involves some proprietary information that
I don't know that anybody.
I certainly could not give you the formula right now, and so I can't speak to how it's changed other than cut scores change, and it seems like we're chasing a moving target quite often.
I bet we could ask AI.
Right.
So let me ask you this. How many teachers are we short? What subjects are they in? So if you could just give me, if you don't care to make a report for me.
Sure.
And actually tag all of this. How many positions are we short in? how many of your people are teaching outside of their endorsed area?
Right.
Okay. If they're outside of their endorsed area, I would like to know how long they've been teaching out of their endorsed area, because I think there's a 1-year limit. But I would like to get an idea of what our true shortage is. What do we need to make education better here?
Certainly.
What do we need to get these teachers to where they are, where they went to school, to where whatever their passion is that makes them love their job?
Make sure when you do that, we have some permitted.
Right, absolutely.
Have what?
Permitted. They're permitted through the state of Tennessee.
Right, but like permitted so long, right, to teach outside their endorsed area?
Until they, 3
Yeah.
years, until they get their, but if you'll add.
Yeah, I'd be glad to do that. But in general, I'll say right now, I don't think this is hyperbole to say that we're facing a critical teacher shortage across the board. Hiring is a challenge right now, and that's nationwide. So especially in those critical areas, science and math at the high school. But
that's why it'd be good for the board to have a raw number of what are we missing.
Sure.
Who do we need to be? Who do we need to be bringing in here? Who do we need to be recruiting? What do we need to do? Do we need to raise our pay scale? What do we need to do to bring them to us?
It's not just here.
Well, I know it. I'm not worried about it anywhere else.
Graduating class in December of the University of Tennessee, out of several hundred, there was 3.
I don't care about them. I'm just talking about here. I mean,
Well,
I know it's
you
across
gotta
the
get
whole
them,
United
you know.
States. I get that. But I mean, what can we do to get these teachers prepared and in the areas they love that makes them desire to come to work?
Yeah.
That they're willing to drive into our county and work here.
Absolutely. And I do apologize for this being small. I'm not even sure I can read it, but our efforts to address and improve performance, we have made an investment in teacher training. We have instructional coaches. We're part of the Early Literacy Network, Access for All, which is a special education program, the Literacy Implementation Network, and the Math CER, which is a comprehensive educational resources program. And we have a very robust mentorship program for new teachers that come to the district in our teacher academies. I know for a fact that all our schools are concerned about community partnerships and increased efforts to engage parents in their children's education. We do rely a lot here in Johnson County on state and federal grants designed to address disparities that we talked about earlier, such as Title I funding and access for disadvantaged students.
I'm gonna ask you one more
Sure.
thing. I'm sorry.
No.
This is my first year on the board, and I gotta be here to learn. So my question is, like, where our students, how many days have we actually had a full day in class since school started this year?
Well, with snow, tomorrow is snow day number 9.
Now,
With the hurricane, we missed 22 instructional days.
how many days of school, by state law, our students have to be in school? Like,
Or have to be in
120,
school.
however many days it is, they have to have instructional
Well,
days?
they have to be in school 180. We go extended day, so we have to have 167 instructional days.
How many have we actually had? Not how many we've missed, but how many instructional days up till January 9th have we actually had in this system?
I'll have to count them.
Is there a reason to be concerned that you won't meet that?
No, the state waived. They waived the hurricane.
Because of the hurricane.
Because of the hurricane, those days were waived as
I'm
far
worried
as not
about
having
their
to make
education.
up. The
That's
the instructional piece that cannot be made up.
Not just that you'll meet
But
the
as far
days,
as the
but that they'll
time.
be able to meet test scores and.
Well, I think
Have knowledge to go above school.
Well, and they have give us the option for us, Carter, anybody that did the waiver, when it comes to the testing. They would not waive testing. That's a federal requirement. They could not waive the testing, but the students have to take the test. But if it's going to hurt them grade-wise,
Yeah.
that will not count against them.
against them.
They did give us that option.
See, this is already hurting our kids though, but I would like the total number of days. Somebody's gotta have it. How many days have we been in school?
We have to count it.
that counted up.
Do you have it, Jesse, off the top of your head?
We don't know? Nobody knows how many days we've been in school? Anywho, I'm so sorry, Mr. Hageman. This goes all back, I promise you, it all ties back to these scores. And the ability of these seniors that have missed out on almost a full year's education, getting ready to go into college is the problem. So my question is, do all the students have Chromebooks?
They're not, they do in the buildings.
Okay, so I don't understand. We're in an area that's always having a ton of snow days. Our kids don't do well a lot per capita, per whatever. Several aren't prepared once they get to school, to college. Then we add this, and we're putting them 15 steps behind their peers out there around the region. So my question is, why have we never implemented virtual school? Boone, North Carolina does not have snow days. They do virtual. At the beginning of the year, all their students get Chromebooks.
Well, I can tell you when.
And they turn them in, and anybody without internet is given packets to have with them, and they're changed out every quarter so that they don't have internet. Or heck, let's get a grant to buy a hotspot to have them have a hotspot.
We're only allowed to.
So I'm just curious,
State
as we're talking
regulates.
about scores.
State regulates that.
State regulates what?
They do with our virtual learning. We're only allowed 2 per semester. The state regulates that.
State Board
part.
of Education.
But when we had it with COVID, when we tried it with COVID, I can tell you it did not work.
No.
Of course, best
We
instruction.
didn't have much internet back then, though. We have
We still
Skyline,
don't.
Sky Best.
Well, we still don't.
So we're just not, we can look into it, right?
We can look
Yeah,
into
we'll
it.
look
When
into
we
it.
do offer, when we do review packets, when we're out for snow, it's hard to do new instruction if you're not sitting in front of a teacher. It is.
Then I say let them all go virtual for the rest of the year. Get them caught
No,
up.
that was a
We can't.
disaster.
No?
No.
That
was a nightmare.
But there has to be an option there.
Virtual was,
Yeah.
No, I mean like
Yeah.
having teachers on
not work.
screen, not y'all doing this, but actual teachers teaching. Are you talking about like COVID, like when it was COVID? But during COVID, they didn't have teachers on
They
the
did.
other
They
end.
did.
Did they?
Yes, they did.
Okay. So you didn't like that either?
No.
statistically speaking,
No.
nationwide, virtual was a complete and total
Yeah, I'm just
disaster.
asking for, like, snow
Epic
days.
proportions.
I'm just trying to figure
Yes.
out how to better their education when we have massive extended
Yeah.
weather or natural disaster.
I think with that, the worst, the kids that would suffer the most would be those IEP,
Yeah.
special
I mean,
education
I know,
kids.
I don't know.
Special needs.
That's what I'm asking, I don't know.
Yeah. So,
Can
Okay.
I say?
Yes.
Have you thought about doing a different school schedule and doing a year-round school?
we
I
have.
don't know, I'm just asking
We haven't
how with
had-
these scores.
I agree.
They have their-
I can send you a
Year-round would be
year-round school
fantastic.
schedule.
I like
I can
year-round
send it to you
myself.
and then you can see, like, it would.
It would, I mean, it would have to be.
I'll send it to more. It would negate a lot of your issues because then you're looking at, they'll have the same break time, but it's broken up. So like during winter break, they have 3 weeks instead of just 2, and then spring break, they have 2 weeks, and then there's a week here, and that would really help with the days that you have snow.
Yeah.
They're still already out of school.
I'm gonna hold them to it. They were not going year-round in
See,
26,
like,
27.
Mr. Lewis, he's like,
To it.
not happening.
What would
I
that
didn't
look
realize
like?
teachers
There's
had
a lot of
to-
systems that do year-round. We've looked into it. Previous boards have had us
Yeah,
look into it.
University High does.
If you'll go to University High's website and pull up their calendar and see what their year-round schedule looks like, it's
They
fantastic.
may go
Kids
9
get the
weeks.
same amount of time off.
Students are off 2 or
But the way
3, or
the-
teachers, I mean,
It's
And if you think
fantastic.
about it, then that fixes our bus issues, because we have bus drivers all year, that fixes our child no lunches during the summer, that fixes a lot of issues that we have in this
Yeah.
county.
You still have vacation time, you still
Yeah.
have adequate time off at snow.
And you
still
still
have
get the
holidays.
entire
I'm so
month
sorry.
of July off.
yeah, it's,
So they still have the summer.
We just
We'll let
need
that
to be able to educate them before they move on to the next grade or leave school is all I'm concerned
Have anything
about.
else?
I am finished unless you have questions for me.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta,
Yeah,
if you're not in school, how are you gonna move on to the next grade?
good point.
How are seniors gonna go to college and be prepared?
I hate it for our seniors this year, because unfortunately, there's not gonna be anything to do, but we can definitely set.
But
it
they've
up for
lost their
next year.
education.
Yep.
I mean,
They've completely lost their education for this year.
Okay.
maybe offering night classes for them to
Thank
catch
you.
up. I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Hagan.
Thank you so much.
What about Adam Saturday?
We tried that Saturday one time too.
Nobody comes Saturdays.
Don't nobody show
Well, it
up?
need to be required.
Well, it was, but attendance was horrible.
Still
Well,
didn't do
I
it.
think we don't need to say it never worked in the past, so we all can sit down and discuss this.
I went to
Have a
school
work
on
session, so everybody's not having to sit here all night.
Okay, okay, we'll get back to number 8, 5-year plan.
Just an update on the 5-year plan. They are currently, the technology department is currently doing this with the help of the administrators in the building, which is not having students they've been able to do this. All current and new equipment will continue to be logged and coordinated with the replacement plan. So they're just going in and make sure all of our equipment is tagged and it's in the appropriate places. So that's just
Okay.
an update on that.
All right, item number 9. Turn it over to her.
Yep, turn it over to Angela. And we
Angela.
have Angela with Connections Academy, so I'm going to turn that over to her to discuss and improve, if the board chooses to, the extension of the Tennessee Connections Academy contract. So, and you do have in front of you, and she will go over, the only thing that we're looking at is the negotiation of the, if you all choose to move on with this, is the negotiation of how much that they give us, and that is in there, and they've come to a 5-year grant of 3.75%. So as far as the contract goes, that's the only thing that can be negotiated.
3.75.
So you're not voting on this tonight to approve, right?
It's discussion and approval.
So, I know I'm big on work sessions, but just reading over this, it ain't gonna tell me what Connection Academy, how all that works, you know, like what's the benefit, what's the downfall of the system and that kind of stuff with everybody sitting here. It's not a great time. I mean, this is our work time as our office. And this is what we were put here to do. And we're gonna be discussing a lot of stuff that most people don't care about. They don't wanna hear it. But I, myself, I need to learn a lot about it, Connections Academy, the benefits, the disadvantages of having you tied to our school, which I think is great, but I mean, I don't know much about it. So I know personally, I don't feel okay voting on it until if we can talk and you can, and tell us all how it works. I mean, we got 2 new board members and he's back, so he's kind of new.
This, we have a, sort of against the time schedule.
I don't want to hear any more time schedules.
So
I'm sorry.
they
I had to
started
push something
this-
through and I couldn't even get financials on last time. Y'all said time crunch, time crunch, time crunch, and you made us vote and none of us board members even knew what was going on. I don't want to hear time crunch. If it's a time crunch, bring it 3 weeks ago.
That is Angela.
This is Angela.
Mrs.
Hello,
Klein, this is
Angela.
this is something I stressed last month. Mrs. Bryant, how long did we speak the other day? Okay.
Who did?
I called and talked with her and asked
Listen,
the questions.
listen.
We have
I
to
work.
be able to,
Okay.
so do I.
Okay, I can't just sit there. I have to actually physically work. So I cannot not understand. You know what I mean? I can't sit here as an elected official of our community and steward of our community schools and rightfully vote that it's okay with no knowledge. Does that make sense? And nothing against you, ma'am. Not at all. Not at all. But I would like to be able to understand all this. Instead of, saying, okay, Johnson County makes some money off this. It ain't hurting us. Here you go. But it's all tied scores and everybody throws a fit. But I would like to have time as a board member to learn, you know. But I'm tired of coming up here and people saying, oh, it's a time crunch. Well, if it's a time crunch, bring it last month.
Well,
Okay?
it
So I'm
started
not
here.
going to be bullied to push a vote through and have a few people push stuff through without the rest of the board being able to have an opinion and an educated opinion at that.
It started.
I'm so sorry, ma'am. I really am. I'm not meaning all this with you, but I really think that we got to know what we're dealing with.
We started with this in October, or y'all did.
Yeah?
And then
They had meetings with her?
the,
Mr. Holloway.
Mr. Holloway,
I wasn't here.
and then when he.
I can't vote on it. I mean, I can't help what he did.
Well, and I know when you and Mr. Griever got on the board as new board members, they reached out to set up and Mr. Griever, I know you
talked to him.
you talked to
before.
him when you first
First
became a
one.
board member, and I think they had reached out to you. Ms.
Did we
Collins.
discuss this at a board, as a board? Everybody's forgetting we're a board.
But they
that-
discussed, they wanted to fill you
As
in
a
on what
board, ma'am.
individually has the connection
I
that
get, I get the
was.
same,
No.
I get the same information that you get.
As a board, as a governing body of our school system, who lays policy and is in charge of all this, we have not sat and discussed as a board with this person.
I'm just
We
saying
haven't
she
discussed
reached
as a
out to
board.
you all to talk about what Connections
Have we
Academy
discussed it
was.
as a board?
I'm just saying she reached
I
out to you
don't,
individually.
I'm not asking that. Have we discussed it as a board?
This is
I mean,
the
we
first
haven't
time.
discussed this at a board. Why are we having stuff up here you want me to vote on that I've not even discussed as a board? I'm an elected official as well as, well, you were appointed, but the other three. But yet, you want us to sign off and approve and do all this stuff because, well, she called you. Okay.
Well, the contract's up. And
Huh?
we need to just redo the contract.
I'm
It's a
not.
simple contract.
Well, no contracts. We know where that gets us.
Well,
We need to sit and work on it.
Well, have your attorney, you looked at this? I mean, you said.
Oh, what
you
is
have an
that? What did
attorney.
you say? What?
Your attorney.
My attorney? What do you
Well,
mean? I don't have an attorney.
You keep referencing an attorney that you
Yeah,
talked to.
TSBA. Ben
you-
Torres. Ben Torres.
Oh,
TSBA.
is that the attorney you keep
that
referencing?
That I asked, yeah, for
Okay.
the law. It's called the law. And he is the Assistant Executive Director of Tennessee School Board Association
He is.
and
No.
lead counsel. So I think he's got pretty good
He knows-
standing
he
to
knows what
answer
he's
my
talking about.
questions on a school board.
I've known Ben a long time.
Well, hella freaking Leah. I really don't care. The point of the matter is, ma'am, I'm really sorry that we have not discussed this as a working board as we have needed to discuss. But I would love to hear what you have to say. But as in voting and approving something just to pass through, without us having any working knowledge as a working board as a whole, discuss the benefits or the negativity of such a thing in our school system. That's why we're here. We represent different districts. We have different ideas and we have different ways of viewing things. But I'm going to shut up and let you talk, but it's nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do
If
with
you
you.
want to come closer to the front, it's closer to the door, but I mean, it's whatever.
Good God. I know.
Well, good evening, I'm Angela.
Hello, Angela.
How
So
are y'all?
sorry.
Is it all right if I sit right here? Or would you rather me stand?
Whichever you're.
And I do have two of my colleagues with me, Lauren and Allison, and so they're welcome to come up, or I'll just sit up here. But I did want to share that this contract is up for renewal. This contract's been in place for 5 years. It's been a fantastic partnership with Johnson County. For those of you that are not aware, I will say that this opportunity that you guys provide in this partnership allows 3,000 students across the state of Tennessee to have an education that they may not have otherwise. These are kids
What
that
do you
are-
mean by they may not have it otherwise? If we didn't partner, why would they not have education?
So, let me just ask you this question. Are you familiar with the type of education provided at Tennessee Connections Academy?
I'm not really familiar with it at all. That's why I'm trying to learn. I really don't. That's
Did you have an
why.
opportunity by chance just to look at the talking points that we provided?
Back whenever, like in October or whatever, I can't remember.
No,
December 27th, I sent that out.
I have not been on my email since December 27th. Again, this is board stuff. I shouldn't have to have this information. I have a company and I work all day. I'm an elected official. I think we get, what, $178 a month. It's not a full-time job, okay? I have to work and I have a life after I get off work. So this isn't what I do all day. You see what I say? I work, I go home, okay? If there's constant stuff being pushed through email, but it's not coming into the board as a whole together where we can discuss and learn, I can't be checking my email every single day for updates of stuff they want to do in the system. That's not how a board works. A board gathers and discusses. This is our office, and we meet once a month. There's a lot to cover in a month. And as I have been elected to be a good steward of your tax-paying dollars, everybody that lives here, like you look at the budget with all the tax dollars that come in to run this place, I have to be knowledgeable about that. And just reading those numbers or whatever you sent is not going to teach me how all this works. It's going to be raw data. But I have no experience with it. You can throw data at me all day, but if I don't know what the data means, it's useless. It's a waste of my time. And I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm trying to learn. And it's not your fault. You know, maybe we should have some work sessions as a board so we can learn and know what is going on and what's going to be best for our educators, our families, and most importantly, our students, your students. So, I personally request to have a sit down with you guys and your colleagues and teach us and explain to us.
And I will say that, we have met with Michelle and we brought this to the board last fall, because this contract is up for renewal. We met with Mr. Long right before the holiday break. and
Michelle's our employee though. She works for us. And the board chooses things. We are the board. We run the school system. We are the policymakers. She works for us. She's our one employee. But our job is to create policy, and her job is to implement them.
No,
So
what I was-
going through her is not sufficient.
What I was referring to was the contract itself and the renewal clause in the contract. So we did meet with
Renewal
Michelle
clause.
in the contract, the current contract.
What is
that
the
we have,
renewal clause?
That we had to have an amendment to Michelle by November the 1st.
So the board's not seen that amendment.
Yes, ma'am.
We have the amendment and we have the original?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what caused the need for a renewal clause? What is the clause there that you're talking about?
It's basically that the contract is subject to another 5-year renewal.
Uh-huh.
And that's what we met with
Yeah.
Mr. Long right before the holiday break.
Mr. Long? Oh, that Mr. Long?
Yes, yes.
Oh, see, that's still not the whole board. So that's where we run into problems and nobody's on the same page.
And
Without a work session to discuss contracts, we end up in the same mess we do year after year.
in meeting with Mr. Long and Michelle right before the holiday break, they asked that we provide some talking points to help guide the board.
Not a
around
meeting with the
Tennessee
board.
Connections Academy.
So now we have one board member and the director just making decisions, which that's not how it works. We're
The-
5
the-
boards in
the
5
The
districts.
contract is up for renewal, and the approval of the contract for the renewal was tonight. So they didn't make a decision.
Oh.
We just met with them to
Yeah.
discuss.
So it
the
was up
actu-
for tonight, the renewal's up tonight?
Yes,
That's terrible timing. That was kind of like the meat plant, it was running out in a week and we didn't get a chance to learn anything. I mean, these dates, who's in charge of these dates, watching these renewals? Michelle?
Well, she did.
She come
went
out,
by
like
the
I said, in
contract.
October.
But
Yeah.
who came to the board with the contract? Not you, not him and you, but the board. Who brought the contract in front of us to have it renewed and read over and looked at to have this done? As we see the 5 o'clock meeting that's been going on for a year and in the last several months, and we're still in argument and disagreement and lawyers involved because the contract's just getting shifted around the school system and nobody having any oversight but you. I'm not trying to be rude, but that's the truth. So,
And I
I'm
sent all the
sorry.
information out to everyone.
Yeah, the information was sent out.
No. How can you vote as a board without having discussion?
I sent the information out.
Without
And I
discussion?
said, if you have specific questions.
That's not how it works.
Angela was available.
We're gonna create a new policy, because that's not how contracts work. Are you gonna run $1 million company and not have meetings? This is a company, this is providing the best education, the best pay that we can get to our staff. This is providing all of the resources for our staff so they're not using their paychecks to go buy school supplies. Because if we have money to do all this crazy stuff with, the teachers should never, ever, never, ever have to buy stuff out of their pockets. Okay, so excuse me, if people thought I was gonna come up here and just let everybody just run over me and have my name tied to a bunch of contracts I know nothing about. I sure wouldn't do business like that.
Well, my role is just to provide you the information as a board.
Your
you
job
decide.
is
You
to
decide as
report
a
to your
board.
bosses.
Yes, and I have.
No, you haven't.
I have.
We have
Yes,
not
I
even
have.
had the chance to have a meeting to discuss it. You just put PowerPoints out there and for us to say, okay,
That's
that's not how it works.
I mean, you do the same thing with Verizon.
I don't care about Verizon.
You have something else.
I don't care about Verizon.
Ms. Angie has 4. Go ahead.
Mr. Long, I don't really have anything else. Our intent of being here today was to present, the partnership that we've had with you guys. We have met to the terms of the contract. We've provided the information. I know we met right before the holiday break.
You met
provided the
with Mr.
amendment,
Long.
and provided the
That was just
talking
appointed
points.
back to the board.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Why did you not meet with the whole board?
Yeah.
We met with Mr. Long and asked Mr. Long what
He's not a board, he's simply a board member. He
Executive.
wasn't even
He's
elected,
part of
he
the
was appointed.
Executive committee.
He's a board member that was appointed, not elected.
So how does the executive committee override the ability for the board to be able to see what they're agreeing to in a contract for the next 5 years?
We sent the contract.
You sent the
can look at
contract, you sent the contract, but with no discussion.
Well, there's only one thing changed.
Why do you have a board? Why is there a board?
Angela, can you break down?
Why
what
is
the
there a
finan-
board?
Can you break down what the financial benefits are to the county
I don't
if we
understand why
continue
there's
to
a
partner
board.
with Connections?
Certainly.
So stupid.
So with this partnership, there is financial, Mr. Griever asked me to speak briefly to the financial benefit, and rather than go into specific detail, because I know that Tina can do that for you guys.
Who asked you what?
Mr. Griever.
Asked you what?
He just asked me if I could speak to the financial benefit of the
Just now?
partnership. Yes, ma'am. And the financial benefit to Johnson County, which this, as I sit and I listen to the board meeting tonight, you know, I hear a lot of conversation around needs for your students at your various brick and mortar schools here. And one of the things that this partnership does provide is a financial benefit to your actual resident students of Johnson County. And right now, based on the current projection, it's around $4.5 million over the next 5 years that this partnership will bring to the students of Johnson County. Just
Is there a specific way this 4.5 million has to be allotted in our school
No,
system?
ma'am.
We can just free willy it.
Yes,
So we
ma'am.
could take 1.5 and put in a massive playground at Laurel.
Yes, ma'am.
No ties, no nothing.
Well, that's not my decision. That would be your decision as
I
the
mean, but
board.
who's decided how to allot the money then? Did the board?
The budget.
The budget.
The budget. That's
Goes
what's
through the
paying for
budget.
the increases.
So as the numbers increase, the budget doesn't change and all that kind of stuff?
So
Your amounts just changed?
what, I'm sorry, Michelle, you might want to just repeat what you just said around the budget.
What the money has been used for over the past 5 years is the increase in the salary for certified and support.
And can we put something in place that we guarantee that
Yes.
the revenue?
Well, we can't do that now. We're supposed to vote on it. We gotta have a work session
That
for
the
that.
revenue from the connections contract is guaranteed to be
We
used
can
for
do that in our
certified and
budget.
non-certified
Budget
staff.
this
Yes.
way.
That would be a work session to discuss where the money and how the money's gonna be used.
And that's why we have budget work sessions.
That's not something
This
that
is not a
we
budget
decide.
work session. This is
That would not
a
be a decision of
contract.
her, that would be a decision
This
of
is
you
a,
all.
this is
That'd be
a,
our
con- this is
decision.
a contract that you're
It's a
wanting
decision where
signed.
you all want to put the money, if you choose to move forward.
We've not
with
even had a
it.
chance to decide or even talk about if we want to. Y'all just deciding.
We've not decided
You
anything.
two met with her.
That is her normal procedure when
Yeah,
she
that's
meets.
what
She
happens.
meets with chairman and the
But it
director of
has to
schools.
come for us as a work session to work through this. In this board, there is 5 board
Well, if
members.
y'all want to have, that's up to you all, what you
There
want
is
to
gonna,
do.
we all need to be having any kind of work sessions for any kind of contracts.
What kind of time frame?
I'm sorry, Mr.
Time frame?
Time frame for,
This be,
It looks like the last one was signed in March of
Right.
20.
Yeah,
so
So technically, we've got, we technically.
do we have any?
we
leeway?
start enrollment for the new academic year in on February 1st,
First,
which
okay.
is why,
Good.
as I shared, and I know there's been some changes with the board this year, but there has been quite a number of conversations around this contract and trying to get this before the board in January. And I do understand the timing of things and some of the changes with the board, but that's why, you know, we did everything we could to get this before Michelle and Mr. Holloway when he went out, obviously, and then obviously met with you, Mr. Long, provided the talking points, provided the contract amendment, because we do need to be able to move forward with marketing and enrollment for these students for the next academic year.
So
What's
are
the
there-
date you have to have that?
February 1st is when we start marketing enrollment for the new academic year.
So are there any changes to the contract other than the
No, sir.
financial return that we're getting?
No, sir.
It's the same contract. I was on the
Exact
board.
same
And by-
contract.
And by my math, it's roughly $898,732 per year
It's just under $900,000.
at a
correct, sir.
3.75% return
That is correct, sir.
For a 5-year period.
for a 5-year period.
Ma'am, why did you send talking points?
When we met with Mr. Long, one of the things that he suggested, along with Michelle, was to provide talking points for the board.
What are
It's a-
talking points?
Just
They're highlights.
specific highlights and
Highlights.
details
Like
about.
points that you talk about, like how to talk about, this is what you would need to know
Yeah,
for
on
this,
the
talking
email.
points.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, if you look.
As in discussion,
We can see
as a board.
exactly how many kids are in the region.
Yeah.
Yeah, we provided an overview in a 5-page document that provides highlights of Tennessee Connections Academy. That's what we provided.
At the end of the day, for our school system to survive and thrive and grow, we have to be able to fund raises for our staff. We have to be able to grow the system as a whole. I'd like to make a motion to approve a renewal of the Connections Academy contract.
And I'll second.
There you go.
We got a motion?
You're good.
And a second. Any other discussion?
Why do we go?
Call
I mean,
roll.
it's 230.
Mr. Griever?
Yes.
Ms. Klein?
No.
Mr. Matheson?
No.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Got your contract.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the
Sorry,
partnership.
ma'am.
We look forward to it.
I apologize. as we just should be allowed to understand what's going on here.
Item number 11?
Yep.
Item number 11.
TISA outcomes.
Hey, Chad,
We did
don't put
receive,
my name in your notes, okay?
we did receive our TISA outcomes allocations, and I just wanted to be able to share that with you all. For those that are new to the board and for the public, with TISA, we do get funding based on our students that are enrolled, and that's all students, Johnson County students, Connections Academy students. But there's also a bit called the bonuses, the outcome bonuses. And this is subject to a year to year. We never know if we're going to get this or not. We did receive it last year. We were able to receive this year. It's 100% student funded. It's based on prior year data. So we're looking at the 23-24 school year, and there's 5 goals that the state allows TISA to generate dollars. And I'm going to share that with you. And I'm sorry this is little. This is just my little cheat sheet. But if you look at the top, it says outcome bonuses. It's 100% state. TISA funding, our base funding that we get, that's $7,075 per student based on individual students. That's 70% state, 30% local. This is all 100% state.
Is this per day, like is it calculated per day of educational days that you get this funding? Is the funding affected if we're not in class
No.
or having educational
Has
days?
nothing to do with instructional
None of the
days.
educational days?
Has to do with data.
Data, no education?
Yes.
Okay.
The first goal is the elementary third grade ELA TCAP, and this is students who have met expectations or exceeded expectations on the third grade ELA TCAP, or a student who has scored approaching or below on the third grade ELA TCAP, but demonstrated significant growth when they got to 4th grade. So you're looking at 2 categories. You're looking at third grade students who either met or exceeded expectations on the third grade ELA TCAP, and you're looking at 4th grade students who demonstrated growth from 3rd to 4th grade. They break it down by 2 categories. The first category is if you're a member of a subpopulation being economically disadvantaged, being ELL or a student with disabilities. And they also do it other students. So other students, there's those that are not in the first category. And you can see, and again, this includes Johnson County Schools, Brick and Mortar, and Connections Academy. So with that, we had a total of 50 students that were in the subpopulation group, and then a total of 51 who were other students. Depending on which group you're in, is the multiplier is either going to be 20 or 10%. So for that goal, we received $106,832.50. For goal 2, this is a middle school 7th and 8th grade ELA and math TCAP goal. And this is for students who have either met expectations or exceeded expectations on the 8th grade ELA and math TCAP, or again have demonstrated significant growth from the 7th to the 8th grade. Again, you have the same 2 categories with you having the subpopulations and then the other students. And for that, we received $64,382.50. Goal 3 and 4 are tied together, and it's a high school goal. It's high school post-secondary and industry certifications. And this is, and I know when Dr. Long has done this presentation, you've heard us talk about EPSOs, early post-secondary opportunities. This is for those students with those EPSO credits. So you either have a student who's earned an EPSO credit and at least 2 EPSO opportunities, and either scored a composite score of 21 or higher on the ACT, or they have increased their ACT composite score by at least 4 points between the 11th grade state mandated ACT and the subsequent afterwards. Or they could have earned EPSO credits for the 3 EPSOs, or they could have scored 31 or higher on the ASVAB and earned an EPSO credit in at least 2 EPSOs. The high school does a great job of keeping up with all that information. For that, we had 32 in the subpopulation group and 48 with other students, so that gave us $79,240. And then the last one is a high school goal. Again, it's with special education students, and it just talks about being able to graduate with a general education diploma. Are they proficient on the state's alternative assessment and their post-school outcomes? We had 31 students with that for $79,240. So what does that mean? When you break it down, and they do break it down by school based on the number of students, That means for the outcome bonuses, Johnson County Schools will receive a total of $272,387.50. Again, Connections Academy were a flow-through for their data because they tell you the specific students, so you know exactly which student got which goal. They'll get $74,287.50. Johnson County, will be rewarded $198,100. Last year, we did use this money. You say, how was this money used, Ms. Klein?
that'd be great.
Last year, we used it for bonuses for our staff in the spring. The board had already approved.
What
to have-
staff got bonuses?
All
staff.
All
staff.
certified, non-certified,
Yes.
that's custodians, cooks, everybody.
That was
Bus drivers.
everybody. The board last year had already done where support staff got a bonus in the fall and they got one in the spring. When
I mean,
we-
if we're doing this for 5 years, why can't we figure this here up and give across the road, across the board raises to all the staff in the school system?
Again, you got to remember this
I mean,
is a
heck,
bonus.
we got this much. I know, I'm not talking
Yeah,
about
this is a
bonuses,
year-to-year thing. We may not get this next year.
but we still have all that money coming
May
in
not
from the
get what
Connections
next year?
Academy. We can
Yes.
give them a
The
raise.
bonus is based on year to year.
I know, but.
We could just make it across the board and give them a raise.
This.
This is year to year. The bonus outcome is only based on year to
How
year.
much do we normally just make off of the Connections
What do you
Academy
get to
though?
make- What do you get to your bonus at?
That's what I just went through.
I know.
It's the TCAPs, the EOCs.
And you get a little bit,
It's
we get the
report card data.
198,000 from the scores, and then the Connections
This all
Academy will
comes
get
from scores. How did our
74,000.
students score on the TCAP or end of course? And it's a one-time bonus that the state awards. And it's based on year to year.
Once a
They may
year.
not give it next year.
It's also based on what's available in town.
So you're
Yes.
just, you're operating on the assumption.
Yeah, we
No.
can.
Well, this is what we're
No,
gonna do.
this is
I'm
the
just
what
telling you
we're
what you all as a board decided to do last year. We haven't decided anything for
So
this
you
year.
don't
do we
know you're
plan on
getting
this
it.
as a necessity?
No.
Okay, we
So
don't.
No,
this
no,
is
this
just
is-
gravy.
It's not budgeted
Okay.
whatsoever because we never know. We just
All right.
found out last week what we were receiving. So, again, we never know this amount. That's just what the board did last year with it.
Gave the bonuses.
Gave
Yeah.
bonuses.
And each year it just changes with however you decide to use it, right?
Well, last year was the first year.
Last year was the first year.
Last year was the first year with
This
TISA.
bonuses.
Because TISA took over for the BE.
Yes, and BEP, you did not get this
Okay.
with BEP. And there is a possibility that we might receive a little bit more with the high school goal because of those students who early grad. So there may be a little bit more, but not, last year it wasn't much. So that just gives you some information on the TISA outcomes, and when it comes budget time, we'll talk about what you want to do with those dollars.
I love you all dearly, but can we get to Laurel? Because I've got 2 kids I've got to take to get to bed. And I want to hear what the outcome is for Laurel. So can we please skip to 15?
14 should be easy.
Yeah.
Man, isn't it?
Well, 12 and 13 is easy.
Yeah, 12, 13.
Yeah, they're easy.
Yeah, graduation date,
No, it's the
That's-
parking lot.
yeah. Graduation date should be just a second.
But just give us a day.
Okay. May the 16th, 2025, 7 o'clock. Rain date, May 17th, 2025.
Yes, and that's just to approve that so we can let parents know when graduation is, and that is a board requirement.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll say.
Motion to approve. And a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Call roll, please.
Mr. Griever?
Yes.
Ms. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes. You wanna do the playground or go to that?
We go to the playground first. Man, that won't take a second, will it?
Well, it should. Approved purchase of playground items, $9,311 for Doe Elementary. Funding sourced through a TVA grant.
Yes, and Mr. Henley's been working with that, but again, this is a part of the TVA grant. This is what Doe chose to use. They were awarded that, but this is what they chose to use their TVA grant dollars on.
Your motion?
Make a motion.
Motion. Here, a second.
I'll second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Griever?
Yes.
Ms. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
And Mrs. Grable, if you would be so kind as to help me with that, I would appreciate it.
The sale of a surplus Savari van that's totaled. It's totaled? Okay.
Yeah.
On Gov Deals to sell. Anybody have any problem with that?
Nope, make a motion, go ahead and do it.
Motion's made.
Second.
Got a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Griever?
Yes.
Ms. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Now we get to.
I'd like to make a motion real quick, and that is to please have all this stuff that has to do with contracts and policy changes, and anything else should be a big lump sum in a work session, and then everybody wouldn't have to sit here and listen to us at work.
Okay.
And we can just hit the highlights and let them know, and they're welcome to come to a work session. But it's not logging all these people up when the board's trying to figure out what they're approving and signing their names to. So I suggest that we have all policy changes, all contracts, any budget stuff has a work session within the board, and then everything else can be taken care of in a meeting so these people can get home to their families.
Okay, we'll get that on a
Thank you.
suggestion. Anybody have discussion on the paving?
And Mr. Shanks is here, the architect's here, and Leon, if you have, you do have two options in front of you. Leon, you want to?
Yeah, I can start. Turn over to Mr. Shanks. We rebid this project. We were fortunate to have 4 bidders this time. The first time it was just a few days after the flood. I think probably impacted some folks who turned out for that project, and we were able to have 4 who did turn in bids, and you have those in front of you, and Mr. Shanks can explain in more detail.
I'd like to make that another motion that we need at least a minimum of at least three bids, because there's around $60,000 saved by getting more bids on that project.
What do we typically use, state?
They request 3.
They request 3?
But occasionally, I mean,
Occasionally
we can't
Can't get 3, yeah.
I mean, if we reach out more, because we reached out this time. I mean, putting it,
That's not, I've been in construction all my life.
what's that?
I've been in construction all my life. It does not, it's always been a minimum of 3 bidders, but it doesn't mean you're gonna get 3 bidders, even on some of the largest projects in our, in surrounding states.
I guess I guess what I'm saying is this last time, we didn't advertise.
Sometimes if you
We didn't
reject that,
advertise, but the Tomahawk.
you have the opportunity to reject that bid, to reject it because you only had 1 bid and rebid it again, which is what Mr. Shanks done.
Yeah.
And this time he was fortunate enough that there were more bidders.
Right.
So that's all you can really do.
Right, I guess it's just really helped by having it put out to companies. People didn't, it was only on Tomahawk before.
It was only on Tomahawk.
Okay.
We reached out to all kinds of companies.
You guys did?
Yes, and we always do.
Yeah.
Every project we bid. And there's a lot of drivers behind that.
Yeah.
And it's not just because of floods, which certainly was a biggie that time.
Right.
But it's because of work capacity, workloads, all kinds of factors come into it. Johnson County's one of them.
Well, I got that when I'd asked that night where we do bids, and
Right.
Russell said that it was too expensive to advertise.
No, Russell
If
didn't
it's
say
not,
that.
yeah,
No, Russell didn't.
that night, just asking where we did it, and I asked, why can't we put it on the radio? Why can't we put it, where other Virginia,
Y'all can put it wherever you want.
North Carolina, but they've been putting in the Tomahawk because it was too expensive to put bids out.
Okay, Mr. Shanks.
What's your bid?
I'm gonna take my direction from them, I'm sorry,
Yes.
but not you.
Let's just get on with this.
So we did put it out for rebid, and we were fortunate enough to have 4 bidders. We did a reduced scope, so we had a base bid A and a base bid B. Base bid A was the drive-through with 13 parking spaces. Base bid B was the drive-through with 32 parking spaces. And the low bidder was Bob Stout Construction, fortunately here in Mountain City. And his base bid A, I assume you all have these numbers. But
Yes.
his base bid A was $104,006.50. And base bid B was $218,782.65. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you want, but that's what it was.
Okay. What's the
So
pleasure?
we just need a direction as
Where to go?
which contract, which bid you want to do, and we'll execute.
So can you
the contract.
repeat the 104 versus the, was it 218 you said?
Yes.
Is that just for the difference in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Like if it's gonna be the strip or what?
Right.
This is just dealing with the strip in front of the school, is that what you're talking about here?
The one,
strip
the
across
lower
the
one's just the
adjacent
strip.
property.
So strip A is, so bid A is the strip and 13 parking spaces,
Yes.
and then bid B is
Is the
full
strip
field
and
and
31
31.
spaces, I think I said 32.
And Mr. Matheson, on this page, there's pictures on this one.
Well, back to the page.
Back 2 pages.
So that, where we're talking about the strip is where we tore down the house a few years ago.
Correct.
Gentlemen, and ladies, what's your pleasure?
Now, if I can remind everybody, at our Christmas program, we had 200 plus, and we had that field filled up, the side of the road, we had a church behind it, we had a lot of people, even people standing that were family members for the Christmas program.
Donna, what did they say was put back for it? How much was that?
365?
365.
So, I mean,
300 and some thousand put back for that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Miss Donna came in and met with me one day.
Yes.
it makes more sense to get the whole area, because you all have like the Laurel Festival, you all have all this
Well,
stuff that
anytime
happens down there.
We have like chapter 1, anytime we have any meetings, anything's going on with the kids, you know, it's family. You have parents, you have brothers and sisters, you have aunts and uncles, you have grandparents. You know, and sometimes you have people just coming because they're supporting Laurel.
So 13 versus how many parking spots? How much?
31.
31, and we
What's
had
that?
slotted over 300,000 for it.
That 31 counts, what's already there?
No, that's new.
That'd be new.
There's 13 new or 31 new.
Okay.
Seems like that's a no-brainer. I mean, the money's already slotted for it, has been slotted for it for over a year.
No, the money's just in.
Well, I mean, it's slotted for it,
It's in
y'all,
fund balance.
whoever,
It's in
however
balance.
that worked.
All right, I'm gonna change course here. After crunching the numbers, I agree with Kim. I think we're foolish not to do the whole thing, and I'll make a motion that we take option B.
I'll second that.
Make a motion to do what?
Take option B.
Option B is $218,782.64.
Hey, Robson,
Jeez
I'll come
Louise.
up there and tune you up.
Oh,
Just
Hey.
don't even let him, don't let him get
Mr.
to you.
Madison.
That's just absolutely ridiculous
okay.
because we're asking questions. This is stupid.
well, we're not voted yet.
This is just ignorant.
Yeah, give it a minute, you know.
Give it just a second.
We've got a motion
And a
Yes.
second on the floor.
and a second.
Who's,
Have
wait,
any-
wait, wait, who's my second?
Who's the second?
Chad?
Chad?
He gets
Okay.
dealing with money, he
Um,
gets touchy.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
No, I think it's a good thing. Anything that,
That's right.
we need to take care of Laurel. Laurel's a fantastic school.
Yes, it is.
I have an admitted soft spot for soft schools, so if we can do something that significantly improves things there,
They have a
Kim's
fan-
correct, this is a no-brainer.
They have a fantastic staff down there.
Yep.
And they have good, kids that, you know, to go there. And you need that school in the community.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Call roll, please.
Mr. Griever?
Yes.
Ms. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes. Tina?
Now, thank you all very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for fighting for your school. It's appreciated.
We're going to chip a little bit of
The kids will be very proud and very excited to see a shiny new parking lot.
And we're going to put a little bit of this on Mr. Robinson for saying let's do it.
And there's no community park there. Like there's parks in Mountain City, now your neighborhood kids can ride their bikes there after school. It's pretty awesome.
All right, Tina?
Sorry. Okay, so you have your summary financial statement here, and it has your general purpose, your federal projects, your Head Start, and your central cafeteria. But I highlighted on the front page, the revenue received for general purpose is 38.1% of the budget. And the revenue expended on the second page is 38% of the budget. We are more than 50% of the year behind us, and we are only at 38% of the budget expended. So we are doing great on the budget, still have funds available. Taking a look at your local option sales tax and your property tax collections, what I did was, we are currently at $646,197. And I looked at the same period last year to see where we were. It was $636,744. So we are currently up $9,453 on sales tax this year. Taking a look at property tax, this year it's $688,654. Last year it was $593,154. So we are currently up $95,500 on property tax also.
Cool. So where we're running 12% off on expenditures, is that just where we were out?
We were still paying the salaries. There may have been some decreases in electric or water.
But not enough to create that big of
But
a
not really
deficiency.
enough to do a 12%.
You should have had a decrease in
Well,
fuel.
Fuel
Decrease in fuel. So the gas,
This
the
is our-
diesel, the electricity, the water. But I still don't think that would be 12%.
I got you.
Well, it's just got November revenue, but it's not. She ran this through today,
Thank
that
you.
would
Okay.
year today.
Yeah, I ran it through today.
Yeah.
But revenue, the last revenue was posted, which was in November.
Yeah,
I
so there's
received it from
actually
Christie
more
today.
revenue out there, so we are actually above revenue what we are in expenditures, because it is through today.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I do. Down here on the HAR department, I noticed where Michelle Arney had been appointed.
Well, hold on, let her do her report and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, she's.
That's all I have.
I just want to share that today is Food Service Appreciation Day. And so we do thank all of our cafeteria ladies. They do a great job of feeding our kids. And just want to say thank you to them.
Do we do something special for them?
We do,
Like bus drivers or?
yeah, they do
administrative
something, the
board?
schools do something every, of course, we couldn't today because we wasn't in
But they
school.
normally get something.
Yes, but they
to
will when we
celebrate
get back in
them.
school. Every school does something for,
Yeah. I
they do
saw
some
that,
really
yeah.
cool things.
Yeah, I have a question here.
Sure.
Under the HARs, it shows that Michelle Arney was appointed to interim principal at Johnson County Middle School, 20th December. Okay. Miss Sherry Long, where was she moved to?
She was moved to a, remind me of the title, Angie. It's working with RTI and Project on Track and housed at Mountain City Elementary School. It was a position we already had in place. That person was no longer in that position. It was an open position.
Okay.
And then Mr. J.R. Campbell is going to be the interim assistant principal at the middle school.
Now, my next question is, since Mrs. Long was moved from the principal's position down to the RTI position, which was held by a school teacher prior, is that correct?
Correct, but she is under contract.
Hold it.
She chose to step down out of that contract when she chose to request to go over. So technically, that contract's null and void because she's no longer as a principal.
No,
Is
not
it
according
not?
to Mr. McCarty.
Now,
So
hold
we can
on,
just
hold
slide
on.
her on down and leave the
For the
same
rest of
pay?
the
Hold
school
on,
year.
ma'am, hold on. Now, let's look back at Mrs. Stansbury, when Mrs. Stansbury was principal up there, and she was moved to Rones Creek, her salary was cut around $10,000. Was
She
that correct, Mr. Greenberg?
she requested that, and it actually happened at the start of the school year, not
She
mid-school.
requested the cut?
Was that not correct,
She
Mr.
requested
Greenberg?
the transfer.
Probably, but,
Sherry Long did as well.
But it wasn't in the middle of the school year.
but Miss Stansbury was here about 5, 6, 7 years, and Sherry's been on staff 31 years and has a doctorate degree. So,
That don't make any difference.
I mean, that's part of it.
How's that
That's part of
work?
it. That's
Mrs.
part of it.
Stansbury had been here also.
That is part of it.
She went from a 12-month position to an 11-month position.
Yeah, that's part of the cut. It all works out.
Assistant principals are 11 months.
So while we're at that, so if we moved it, like you were getting ready to say about the transfers and stuff, and JR's moved to assistant, but it's the principal spot that was open. Why wouldn't JR go into the principal?
We
That was the
moved
open position.
Because she was already moved into the interim.
We're not even in
principal.
school.
But that had to happen right then. We had to
I
have
know,
a
but we don't
principal.
need an interim anymore. We found one.
He's the interim assistant
Assistant
principal.
principal.
But that's not the position that was open. The position that is open is the middle school principal.
No,
Middle school principal was not open.
Isn't that where Sherry was?
That was, and Miss Arnie moved into
That was
the
an interim.
Interim.
That was an interim. But we don't need the interim now because we have a principal.
He's an interim assistant principal.
Why doesn't he go into the open
That's
position?
not what we were looking for.
Huh?
That will all come about when
So we
July 1st.
we had an opening for a principal.
No, we did not.
Yeah, we did. Sherry moved down.
So we,
But
Sherry moved down and opened the
They're
position.
both interim
they're
for the
both
remainder
interim
of
for the
the
remainder
year.
of the school year.
Right, but still there again, Mrs. Long
He
was
should go
moved
into
down.
the he should go into the open spot.
Mrs.
We didn't have an
Long was
open
moved
spot.
down, and therefore her salary should have been cut down to this salary here.
It's about this budget, but we got a lot of money, so just leave it. Okay, that's
I
all.
don't know that can happen, but anyway. Is there any,
So the
anything
principal
else?
place was not open. The principal
Yes.
spot.
Do you know if there was an investigation in the school system for what happened in the classroom that day with Blake?
That would be more of a,
I heard
there was, from what my understanding from Dr. Long
So-
and Ms. Arnie,
so
there
that
was
position
an
really wasn't open.
investigation at that level.
So she.
But I don't know that it
this-
was.
this- Is this like a normal business model?
Was there an investigation?
No, I didn't.
That
You're a
day?
weak ass. You sit right there.
Did the school system, did y'all investigate what happened in the classroom with Blake that day? Like, I know the cops, the
Principal
you know,
spot
sheriff's
is
office
not
did.
open.
Okay,
Because
can I
Arnie
meet
was
with
in
you
March.
one day to talk about
But it
that
was open.
sort of thing? Okay.
That
I don't
would-
wanna take
that
up
would
any
have-
more time.
that would have- But I knew they
It
did.
was interim.
All right,
I just hadn't heard anything else.
thank y'all again. We have a motion to adjourn.
But it was not really
So
open.
moved.
But it was vacated.
Got a motion,
by
do we have a
choice.
second?
Second.
Motion and a second. We're adjourned.
Vacated by, so it was vacated